Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to this September 28th, 2020 edition of Show Business. We got a stacked show, even though there's not much. We got a big show, but there's not much of a filling. As always, I come to you as CP.
And from Infuegotainment and the Horror Show, I'm Tommy Infuego.
And of my 2 cents in nonsense, I'm Lindsay Lohan. What up?
We got a big show, but there's not much.
Hey, y'all. I'm Chauncey K. Robinson from Twisted Woman CKR.
and joining us once again.
I'm Peter from Canada. No affiliation.
Welcome back, Peter. It's good to have like a little alum party.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, Dale. Hello, Felix in the chat already. That's sweet. So real quick, let's get to these staggering numbers from last weekend. Tenet maintains first with 3.4 million.
Yee.
Worldwide it's at 280. So
I was watching a thing where it said it's number 4, I think, worldwide right now.
Okay.
But that's not saying much.
No. I'm wondering if that's what Warner was thinking about when they shoved it through, because 280, it won't be in the top 10. Bad Boys might end up being the highest grossing film of the year.
Domestically, Bad Boys is. I was just reading a thing that said worldwide. I think they just got taken down to second place from the 800 or something like that. It's a Chinese movie.
Oh, really?
I did hear about this too. Yeah.
That took over the number 1 spot.
That's exciting. So number 2 is The New Mutants, kind of just lingering at 1.2. We did talk about that a couple weeks ago. New Mutants just kind of hanging around with that weekly million. Unhinged in third with 967,000.
Okay.
In fourth, Star Wars Episode 5.
Woo!
The Empire Strikes Back with 908,000.
The Emperor is back somehow.
Yeah. So let's try it again. And last, to round out the top 5, is Infidel with 761,000.
Oh.
Which my parents went to see at a theater this weekend. Yeah.
It actually looks like a movie instead of, just a fake documentary this time. So go Dinesh. He stepped up his game a bit,
Yeah.
It's a D'Souza medium.
Jim Caviezel and
Oh, that's right. Jim Caviezel's in there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a movie, not a.
It's an actual film. Yeah, it's a feature.
This is the first D'Souza movie where it's not a documentary or documentary.
Well, none of his movies are documentaries.
Yeah.
So.
This is the first one that's like a movie with a story.
Oh, good.
And who knows? Maybe he's a good storyteller. I'm judging the book for the cover. I totally
telling
admit that.
really extravagant stories. Like I can tell you that much.
Fair.
Whether or not they're good is one thing, but he's been doing stories for a while.
By the way, I did a quick Google while we were doing introductions. Bad Boys for Life is not the highest grossing movie of the year at the worldwide box office. It literally it's something called the 800.
Are you deaf?
Oh, maybe I was just too busy Googling it. I'm sorry. Did you really?
He was really researching that.
I'm hearing an echo.
Me as much as it used to.
Maybe. I'm sorry. Good to see you, Peter. I'm sorry. Thank you for doing your job better. My job better than me.
Don't do that, because I'm on so many head medications that it made me think that perhaps I didn't really hear it.
That's really funny. I was too involved. I was like, "Ooh, wait, no, there was that story. I don't care what Peter's saying."
What's up, Ben? Ben joining us. So Dale's doing a drive through. Wish you could stay longer. I'm gonna head out. Have a great night. All right, Dale. No big. Take care.
Peace out, Dale.
Ben says I watched a random horror shortcut that was in theaters Friday. Shortcut. Is it?
Oh, that was one that I was tempted to return to a daytime showing. It's kind of like a British film, stuck on the road. Creature shows up with a bunch of kids in a bus or van or something like that.
We all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had an echo. So we were planning on making this episode a bit of a focus piece. And I asked everybody to do homework.
Hey, you asked.
Yeah. It's my fault. It is my fault because I just figured, hey, new movie, and judging by the top 5 and the lack of money that this movie has made, a very, very, very bad mistake. But so we're going to talk about it briefly and not focus on it the way I originally intended. Antebellum, which came out, I think 2 weeks ago now, or last week. Yeah, it's within the. I
think it was like the 18th, right?
Yeah. So it's September. Was released VOD. I think that's another one that's dual, right? Isn't that sort of in theaters?
Yeah. No, I think it's
on VOD.
Just VOD straight.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's doing decently on VOD. I think it's the most rented on Amazon right now. I'm having a bad hair day right now. I'm sorry, but I think it's the most rented movie on Amazon right now. But I did see it only has like 1.8 at the box office wherever it is playing. But I did see that it's pulled that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So only 2 of us watched it all the way through, and I'm not one of them. The guy who said let's do this. Who wants to take the reins and give us a synopsis, please?
I most certainly can. So yeah, this was one I actually spent money on. So it was my birthday weekend, and I was just very curious about it, despite the obviously controversial subject matter and things of that nature. It had a lot of buzz about it initially. When it was going to hit theaters, and then COVID happened and it got pushed back and whatnot. But I was out of town for my birthday, didn't end up watching it until yesterday. So I spent money on it, and I'm very regretful I did, because CT's uncle provided a copy that I could have saved my money, and that actually had to see this. But so it essentially starts in just the period of the Civil War. You're on a plantation in the South. I don't think it ever specifies at any particular time where exactly, but nonetheless,
it was reclaimed. So like the story was that they've taken something from the North, and that's what the story they put forward within the movie anyway. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So you see R-rated atrocities. I mean, if you've seen 5 Years a Slave, Roots, anything like that. This stuff is vicious. It's tough to watch, and I've debated this with both my friends of color and also friends that are gringos like me. And it's like, do we need to be reminded about stuff like this? Some say that I've heard it both ways from both demographics, I guess you could say, in the fact that we do need to be reminded so that we can hopefully change things, because there's still these tensions to this day. And then there's others that just don't like looking back on that, because it's painful, it's embarrassing, it's excruciating in this case, because the first 40 minutes are exactly what you would expect. There's escapes that are attempted. Stuff is just really brutal and horrible to watch.
Well, you pseudo skated around the fact that it takes place in a Confederate. So
are we doing?
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, we're gonna spoil the shit out of this.
Oh, spoilers. Okay, warning, spoiler.
Spoiler. If you don't want antebellum spoiled.
So it's a southern plantation under Confederate control, because there's a contingency of soldiers that are on this land, and so they are making stuff even more intensive and nasty than you would. Yeah. Well, I mean, stuff is horrible either way, obviously, but this amps it up even more so based on the contingent of Confederates that are there. But about 40 minutes into the film, we suddenly flip to presumed present day, and that's where we are following Janelle Monáe, who is in a dual role, quotations, and she is a successful author, political pundit. We see her on TV arguing with angry white dude, and she's got a wonderful family life. And at first, I was like, this is actually, despite the brutality initially, better than I anticipated, because I felt like it was showing just the oppression and the horrid behavior that happened in the past, and how it's still around, just masked and veiled in different ways in present day. And so that I thought was very good. And But then once we get to some illogicality, silly twists, and things like that, that's where the film really lost me, despite a great performance from Monet. So that's about all I got.
To stick with positive, something I will say is the film opens with a oneer that is done, technically speaking, done quite well. There's no cuts. There's this long shot where we're tracking through a little girl running to her mom or whatever, and we're following soldiers, and then it just gets progressively less pleasant as you're moving further and further along. But again, technically speaking, that's difficult to do.
And it was a good shot. I was playing over it was very good too. It really set the tone. It grabs you. You're like, okay, where are we going with this? It really,
this is well made.
Yeah.
It's proficiently made, the film. Just the stuff that's going on, less alluring.
It really had the sense of a movie that they're like, hey, I got this great idea of a twist. Okay, so what's the rest of the movie? I don't care. I got this twist.
Yeah, see, I'm wondering if you flip it, if you do the end, well, not the end, if you do the modern thing in the beginning, and then flip it, would it be more engaging? Or
I think so. Seeing her actually get adjusted. I wanted to know how. We're kind of talking a lot here, but
let's ruin it for them. Come on, go for it.
Yeah, I was about to say because it's all about the twist, you know. So
we start with her. She's been there for a while, and so this very modern woman who's a very successful writer and things like that. We see her as she's already acclimated to
Janelle Monáe's character.
Janelle Monáe's character. As she's already been like, I've been here for a while. I've even tried to escape a few times. I think it would have been really interesting to see. I mean, not interesting. Like that's a very
the hard word to use. Yeah, fascinating.
It would have, the story would have carried more weight and would have worked better and would have, because like that's the movie just ends and I felt nothing. But maybe I would have felt something if we saw her acclimate to this as opposed to her just being in it. If that makes sense. Like I feel like they showed her just being in it in order to service the twist, not to service the story. I don't know. That's my thoughts. Chauncey, you've read up on this a lot.
yeah, please, some insight.
There's just so many things wrong with like the execution of this movie, and like just I don't know what was going. I feel like it was just like, I mean, I'm all for like representation, of course, in like films and things like that. So I think that's always a great thing and stuff. And I feel like you were saying, like it was this idea of, oh my gosh, we got this really cool twist. Let's show that slavery and that the brutality of racism and stuff has always been around. It is around. And let's show this weird twist. But it's like, this is the thing. You don't have to do a movie like this to show that brutality and stuff is all around. You could go into the prison industrial complex and see modern day slavery. You could go into the immigration detention centers and see camps of people being like basically held against their will and so on and so forth. You don't need to do this thing where, to me, it's just completely unbelievable, for one, this idea that this strong Black woman or just people in general could be, kidnapped, essentially, thrown on some, people who have been in this world, because this thing, this is not to say that our ancestors, my ancestors, I should say, now, but my ancestors were like weaker or something, because they, because there were slave rebellions, constantly slave rebellions. There were poisonous, people were poisoning households all the time because for some reason people thought that you can enslave a person and still let them fix your meal and be completely fine with thinking that you were going to eat an okay meal and not get poisoned. That happened all the time. That happened constantly. But also those people those enslaved persons didn't, like, they came from a place, and then it was this foreign place. They didn't know this terrain. They didn't know what was around them enough to, and then there was still rebellion, still people constantly plotting. So somehow it makes even harder for me to believe that you could kidnap someone who's been in our regular society, knows and everything, and that's not constantly the conversation that's happening to the point where we only know about this until the twist that all this time these people have been from this year and this decade. Like that's one that's just, to me, lazy storytelling. Like, let's have no one ever mention, man, if I could just get my cell phone, I could call somebody. Or man, if I could just, get to see the highway and get past this point. And they're just like, oh, let's escape tonight. Like, it's just like, let's create a dialogue. And so it's like, really, we just really want to fool the audience, but at the expense of, like was said about quality storytelling, and I don't know. I just feel like I'm not against slave narratives. There's just some I won't watch. Like I didn't watch 12 Years a Slave and all that other stuff. Because sometimes I'm a little bit more cynical about it. Sometimes I think it's just Oscar bait. Let's talk about something that, no one can be mad about a slave narrative, let's go in some, something like that. And I just think the question is, who is this for? Like, I know when Jordan Peele makes stuff, he's making it for also the enjoyment of the Black audience too, because that's why he doesn't have it. So the Black man dies at the end, or that there's constant brutality all the time towards Black bodies. Cause it's also this idea of, well, why should we sit through that? And I wonder about a movie like this that makes you sit through such brutality in the very beginning of it, and especially the breakdown of such a strong Black woman character to be subjected to something like that, just so that we can feel some type of triumphant thing at the end when she finally escapes. But it's like, well, now I have to think about all the trauma this woman's going to have to deal with for the rest of her life. Did she really escape? Look what she had to go through for all of the couple of weeks that she was kidnapped, and I thought it was unnecessary. I just think, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a horror film to a certain degree, but it's that kind of one where it's like, did we need that? It's kind of like in Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum's character says, you all the time you were thinking, can we do it? You never asked, should you? And I think that's the same thing with a movie like this. Like, yeah, you can do it, but should you do this film? And the answer probably would have been no. You don't need this film. People should watch Kindred, should read Kindred. And there's a really great graphic novel by a friend of mine who does the Kindred, Octavia Butler's thing, the graphic novel of the Kindred thing. That's a way better story version of this that actually deals with time travel in a very wonderfully told way. And then there's also Sankofa, which I talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is it's a way better execution of this. So
yeah, it's a shame. They could have planted the seed. I mean, I watched maybe half of the first act.
20 minutes.
I watched about 20 minutes. Like when we started beating on slaves, I was like, I'm currently sitting through Requiem for a Dream. I need something happy.
Yeah, no,
I just can't with this right now.
Okay.
But I don't know if it was Lindsay or Sean.
Movie night at the CP house there.
Dude, and I'm editing for Requiem for a Dream, so it's just like I'm constantly looking at this miserable
movie. I saw that movie and literally wanted to like wash my brain. I was just like,
it's a movie where you're like, holy shit, I don't think I ever want to take asprin again.
I saw that one on psychedelics, unfortunately, and I cried my eyes out. Like I felt like I was permanently ruined for days afterwards.
But I don't know which one of you said it. If they had just planted a seed, something like, oh man, one of us has got to escape so that we can get like a camera or something on this, and it like just to plant the seed and be like, that's weird. Civil War times, they're talking about cameras. Do they know what cameras are? Like, wait, what did cameras exist back then? Like, you just something like you put it in the back of your head, like, oh yeah, they did kind of let you know, sort of that it was modern day.
Well, actually, they don't even drop a hint until the third act. They don't drop a hint until the third act, and it's where you hear a ring. And it's where the guy goes out to his horse, the general dude, and he's talking on the phone, his accent slips at one particular point during the phone conversation. And at first I was just like, okay, this is just utterly illogical. And then when they finally gave the little explanation at the very end, I'm like, this is inexcusably illogical and lazy writing. And so, I just miss.
Well, that's why it's like I wish we could have seen the version again. I'm not okay, terminology, but like I think a better version of this movie would have been we saw them when they first get there, so like they're that urge to say that no, this isn't how the world is anymore is taken from them would be more powerful than just looking at these people being like, okay, wait, why are you just acting like it's 1865? I don't know, maybe that's just me again. I don't know. It's just a very frustrating movie because at the end of it, you don't feel triumphant, you don't feel disgusted, you just feel empty in that way that you watch something that didn't really know what it was trying to tell you. And and that's not even really true either, because like the message of this movie is clear: racism is bad, and it's still there. But it's so that message is so pervasive and beating into you in every scene that after a while you just kind of go along with it. It doesn't have any power anymore, I guess. In a way.
There's two films that deal with racism that I kind of put I don't want to say pedestal, but I think they're quality films.
Mm-hmm.
And they
horror.
No, just in general. American History X, I think, leaves you with a hell of a message. And Black Klansman, really, you want to talk about, feeling like you won, and then the shit at the end. Just devastating. The footage at the end, like, oh yeah, no, this is what's really happening now. So.
Yeah, I saw the movie I think 3 times in theaters. I really liked it.
I love.
I kept going back with friends. More people wanted to see it. I was like, okay.
I was telling you guys last week. I just saw it like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
and it was just like that's like a really great movie.
It is. It's fantastic, and there's. Go ahead.
Is it John David Washington?
Yeah, John David Washington. Yeah,
I was one of like John David or David John. I can't keep on keeping it.
Denzel Jr.
Denzel,
basically.
Denzel. It's like that's Denzel talking, and then he flips back to himself. And I didn't see that as much in Tenet. He didn't do a lot of Denzel moments in Tenet.
Well, he was just the protagonist, I mean, they didn't really develop any of those characters very well.
I think they developed them pretty well, but that's I want to take one issue with something Chauncey said. Chauncey, you said that this movie is about your people, not my people. We go back far enough in history, we all look the same. We all went darker to lighter. Some of us didn't go as light as others. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not, it was a joke in some ways, but it's not. I think like, you go back in history far enough, everyone was dark.
Yeah, right? I mean, there was the original skeleton from Africa and whatnot. I guess I was more so talking about, I mean, I don't know if anyone's done 23andMe to know, where they're...
I'm joking on you, not joking on you. Like, I'm like,
listen,
every joke is half the truth.
Well, it's the thing. I don't know if you guys ever saw, there's a movie called Big Stan, which is about Rob Schneider going to prison. It's this whole thing where he doesn't want to get raped in prison, so he becomes a real badass, which Rob Schneider is fun. But in prison, he basically becomes the baddest ass in prison and basically makes everyone stop being mean to each other. And he just goes, like, he says something to a black guy, and the guy goes, "Hey, you can't." He's like, "We're all black. They watch the Nova episode. This is being decided. We all came from Africa. It's fine. Do we have to do this now, really?" And it's just like, this is not a thing anymore. And it is. It 100% is, but it shouldn't be. And it's sad.
The Canadian trying to be all smooth and happy about things. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, from the outside looking in, you could probably say stuff like that. But
no.
We're in bad shape down here.
Yeah. I hope you're not offended. Like, it's sad because, like, we're all the same people. You go back.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, one of the things. And I mean, I think that's the question of, like, movies like this. It's like, depending on the way you're creating a narrative, it's like you either do well, like Jordan Peele does, where it's like everyone can watch this film. Like, even with Us, there was this question of Us wasn't even about race necessarily. It was more so about the American, well, in my opinion, it was more about the American otherness of a person, with these people living underground and whether or not they truly belong. And the fact that you had this black family that could be any family, no matter what race, So I think, there's a certain craft that Hill did and others have done that, shows that you can have a balance, that this could be a movie that I can get something out of it and someone else can get something out of it. But a movie like this, where you have it so that what I'm seeing in the first 40 minutes are bodies that look like me currently getting brutalized, then I'm like, well, I can't necessarily, because this person looks like me, this woman looks like me, Janelle looks like me, and I'm just watching this brutality that I know has happened to women, particularly who look like me, for years to come. It's very, I know it's like, social justice warrior type thing to say, like, I'm triggered, but it's not even like that. It's more like, who's that kind of movie for, and who gets something out of it? It's kind of, and I know it's a controversial thing to even say, the whole idea of like, I don't really like horror movies that do the whole rape revenge thing, like I Spit on Your Grave and stuff like that. I can't stand that genre, that subgenre of horror, because I do think it's a bit gratuitous. And I think sometimes films like with the slave narrative, depending on how you show it, you can do it well enough. But I think in this particular way, it was gratuitous. And I think it was even more gratuitous for people who currently look like those people that were brutalized,
Yeah. Well,
Giddy. And for somebody,
Go ahead. Fuego.
No, and I was just going to say, as somebody who, you guys know, covers a lot of horror, I'm always much more so a fan of violence that actually properly serves a narrative, as opposed to being gratuitous for the sake of just shock value. And this film most definitely did that, because even though a lot of people kind of ragged on Harriet last year, that was a PG-13 film that still showed the horrors, but without the graphicness of it, I think. And,
I missed that. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, it had its problems, but the actress who was in Bad Times at the El Royale, she was on The Outsider. Her name eludes me, but she is also a singer over in the UK. She is a badass. She is unbelievably talented, and she was solid in the role, even if the script was a little shaky. So,
but we lost Peter.
Did we lose Peter? Tech difficulty.
Probably. She is so good though that I'm looking up her name right now, because she is such an incredible singer from El Royale. Like, completely blew me away.
Yeah, she's won British Grammys, if I'm not mistaken, as well, and then she segued more so into acting over the years. So,
what are you doing, Peter?
Oh, hey,
this weird thing happened, and it was so weird. This turned into like a song where Johnson was saying, and she said, and well, and then it went, and well, and well, and well, and well, and then everyone else came in, and it literally became like, and it just repeated, and nothing I said, no one could hear me, and I'm just like, what's going on?
You should have recorded it. That would have been a hit.
I was just like, this is super weird. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get out and come back in. I don't know. That was crazy.
Are we good now? We're not singing to you?
Yeah, no. It was seriously like, there's distortion loop feedback thing, and it literally sounded like a techno song all of a sudden.
Oh, wow.
That's why you got to get the headphones. Or do you have headphones in?
Yeah, he's got headphones on.
No, he doesn't.
No.
So one of us is wrong.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happened, but it was just like, I was like, whoa, okay. So
Cynthia Erivo, by the way, is the name of the actress. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but it's something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, Chauncey kind of alluded to it before when it comes to like these Oscar bait movies, and again, you brought it up with Us. I think Hollywood kind of, as much as they want to pat themselves on the back every now and again, it just seems like, you make these slavery movies. It seems like yearly just to get representation in film. Why not just make stories like Us? I've said this numerous times. I don't give a fuck who the fuck's in the movie. Just make it a good story. It should be about the story first, and that's it. And it is the person doing well? Is the story engaging? That's it. But to constantly go back to the well with slavery, it especially with something that just doesn't really have a point. Like it's like M. Night.
And this is how little of a point this movie has. They very awkwardly shoehorn in someone saying, "You're triggered, boy," to one of the slaves, and I'm like, it's just like, you can't use that term in a movie trying to take itself seriously right now.
Yeah.
You just can't.
And And it's not even like a new kind of concept. I mean, they made it racialized in this particular one, but we saw that with another film that wasn't all that great, The Hunt, where it was just like these people get, taken. And in this particular case, it's like, owning the libs or something, or the libs owning the right wing in that particular one or something, and they belong to these groups like Reddit or whatever, 4chan, 5chan, whatever it is right now. And so it's like, and even and that was another movie where it was like, I like the one-liners, the violence was a bit crazy or whatever, but since it was that kind of genre movie and it let you know that from the jump, I was like, okay, I get it. This is what this kind of movie is. But even then, I'm like, well, what was the point of this? What was the point this movie was trying to make? Is it saying we're all one and we're all at the end of the day ridiculous? Or I didn't get it because I was just like, you didn't know what you were trying to say. You just kind of wanted to have these twists and people saying all these colloquialisms or whatever you call it from the internet. And, okay. And I feel like that's the same thing with a movie like this. It's like, well, let's kind of say something, but really we just kind of want to like show that we're so like knowledgeable and woke. It's like when woke films go wrong or when woke goes wrong or something. Like The Hunt and this film, it's like it's when woke goes wrong. It's like you tried, I guess, but you don't really understand what you're trying with the concepts you're trying to convey. So it just comes off super muddled and pointless. Well,
I
think they woke on the wrong side of the bed.
Okay.
We're
definitely here all night.
We're definitely off this week. We're definitely not on the right foot at all this week.
I find. Sorry, go ahead, hon.
I was just going to say that after watching Antebellum, I had to watch something completely different to cleanse the palate. Yeah. And I watched basically a British version of The Hunt. It's called Get Duked. I don't know if you guys have heard of this movie. It's on Amazon. It's essentially take Attack the Block with John Boyega and mix it with The Hunt. And it's about these kids in the British Highlands who have these crazy white aristocrat high society types trying to hunt them. And yet, I mean, this movie is one of the funniest things that I have seen in so goddamn long. Yeah, it had all the horror journalists were covering it, but it's more so just like a dark comedy, and it's nowhere near as violent as The Hunt. And beautifully directed, first-time director, and this one actually had something to say. And it's got a great hip hop soundtrack, Run the Jewels, all kinds of interesting acts. And man, if you guys get the chance, it's exclusively on Amazon, which is funny that Bezos would buy a film which talks shit about the 1%, but that's exactly what his Amazon studios did to release this. So
and he's caring about his pocket, not his.
Bezos will buy whatever makes sense. If he would buy a documentary about himself, if he thought like saying he's terrible and has a small team. And he would still buy it if he thought it would make him money. Yeah, he doesn't care.
True
Honestly,
that.
When I watch the boys, I picture VOD as like an extreme version of Amazon or something that's just taken over everything.
True that, man.
I love watching the boys because it's so Toronto. Like the whole everything is. So
is it? It's definitely shot in Toronto.
Shot in Toronto. The quick fun film fact. So like the building that VOD has as their main corporate towers.
Oh yeah.
That is Roy Thompson Hall, which is a big music hall. It's a circular building. So it swells up like this. Everything that's straight up above that in the boys is CGI, but the building itself is like that and is a big round, like glassy dome. It's been used for a ton of things. In the very beginning X-Men movie, where Professor X and Magneto talk to each other, where it's all like they're doing a big scene where Jean Grey is being interviewed by Congress and stuff. That's all Roy Thompson Hall. So it's been used repeatedly. It's an iconic thing, but it's like
I'm looking at it right now. It's a super interesting looking.
Yeah, I'm just like that's where I've been in there. I've watched stuff there. I've been to musical stuff there. Like it does a lot of symphonies. They do a lot of Toronto Symphony does stuff with movies where they'll play the score, so you could go see Lord of the Rings, and they'll play the score there live symphonically.
Nice.
So, but it's the boys. Everyone like, Toronto. It's like I know so many of the places in the boys. It's cool.
Do you think that maybe it seems like Hollywood wants to get the point across that we're divided, like that. I mean, that's pretty clear. It's in the news. You know, anybody with a television or a cell phone or anything, a Facebook account, should be aware of. You know, there's a big gap between you know, the two large beliefs in this country. Do you think if perhaps, you know, Hollywood wanted to get that message across that, you know, we need to get back towards the middle and just, you know, work things out, do you think they'd have to start with something maybe extreme, like make it like a year or two down the road and it's actually the beginning of Civil War II, and then you have to have some sort of major event that makes us become the United States of America? Start with, you know, shit at its worst, and then make it some sort of message. Like, do you think they, like, instead of going back to the past, you know, going a bit further with what could be happening now to get to their message? I'll take that silence as a no from everyone.
Yeah. well, I mean, I've heard the argument that this sort of coverage or films like this, they pour more fuels on both sides of the fire of resentment as opposed to bridging respective gaps. I know Morgan Freeman had that controversial comment on CNN a number of years ago that has been taken in different ways by both political sides and by, you know, independents like myself as well, where it's like, you know, the more we talk about it, the more it's remembered, the more the hatred continues. Can't we just stop talking about it? I've had my friends of color side with that and say, you know, fuck that, you know, basically respectively. So I don't necessarily know what the right answer there is, but yeah.
Well, I mean, when you have things in the news that are happening right now, it's hard to be quiet. It's
true. Nor should we be, you know?
Well, I also think it's kind of, well, I guess for me, I just feel like if real concrete change in society is going to happen, I would not put it in the hands of Hollywood. You know, I would hope that it does. I always get weirded out when there's pundits on and they're talking about a very serious conversation, and then they have like cute, you know, like some rapper or somebody or some singer to weigh in on something. And I'm like, I like that you do like that kind of stuff. And that's great. Talk about that because you have a platform for sure. But it's kind of weird to me when they get more platform than people who actually like study it and are in it. And you have CNN inviting these people on constantly. And it's like, well, so-and-so said this. Well, let's go to, I think it was Dave Chappelle who talked about how Ja Rule was weighing in on something. And he was like, who cares what Ja Rule has to say about the net? Where is the professor to talk about this? Like, it's fine if Ja Rule is there, but he shouldn't be the only person talking about this. And I think there's so much a thing where like Hollywood has to, there's so much of an emphasis of what Hollywood is saying about this. But like others have said, it's like they'll put out what works a lot of the time. You'll have a same company that has a thing about like we're championing this all black cast of this thing, and then you find out within their company system they don't hire certain people in the office. You know, it's kind of like, well, this is what's going to make us money, but we don't necessarily do it where it counts. You know, it's not just about who's in front of the camera. It's about who makes the decision about who gets to be in front of the camera. It's about who's in those buildings, who's in those meetings, running those pitches for the film, who's accepting the pitch, who gets to decide what's greenlit. You know, I do think culture has a great emphasis on how people think. I mean, it's part of propaganda for sure. But I think it takes the people outside of that to be able to control what we take in and what we also reject. And it can't be just Hollywood making that decision. It's us deciding, telling them by what we choose to watch and what we choose to say, no more of this. That they'll go with whatever works for them, to be honest. I think, at least that's my opinion.
It's still just a business in the end, as much as they want to. As much as they want to seem like the higher power and the people that
there's a lot of virtue signaling. Look at us, we're good. Like the new rules with Oscar we talked about a bit last week. I'm all for diverse hiring of everybody, right? I worry that this is going to be like, well, we need 30% of this, so let's get some token people in here, and like, you know, and it's like, no, I guarantee you there's a lot of Latino people that are talented behind cameras that can do all those jobs that I don't know behind the scenes on film.
Cinematographer, gaffer,
grip,
best boy.
Yeah, all these things, right? Like same with like Black people, same with like you Asian people. Like I'm sure there's tons of people that are talented, right? And at the same time, they'll be like, well, okay, just grab this guy because it's like, well, now we've met our quota, and it's just like, oh, I don't want that because that's stupid. It's like hire people because they're good, but also hire people because they have a right to work, right? So like, the problem is like now it's like, well, we need this. It's like, no, screw it, forget 30%. Hire as many people as you can of any color, everything, so that it's good that you have good casts. Like the 30% thing, I don't want them to, oh, we'd love to hire you, but we got 30% already. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, filling a quota for sure. In that same vein, I do think it's about, because with that sentiment, it's also the idea that we already function under a meritocracy where people get things based on merit. And I think we know a lot of time, depending on who's the person and nepotism and whatnot like that, there's people who get put on places who who totally don't deserve to be there anyway. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it can be a slippery slope either way. I mean, I do think things like affirmative action programs for behind the scenes stuff can help, because of the fact that if without it in place, you would have companies that would never hire these people, and they would keep claiming like, well, we'd hire more Black tech people, but we just can't find them. But that's BS. A lot of times they're just not looking, or whatever. So here's this program that makes it so, well, you better look for somebody, what I mean? So there's that. But then again, I also agree with the whole thing of, once we reach our quota, well, now we don't have to hire any more Black people. We got our 5 guys, so we don't need this 6th one.
Yeah, we only needed 5. And,
but that goes back to that deeper thing of that, racism within the systemic racism of things and hiring practices and whatnot. But
let me chime in and give me a little bit of rope here. Cut me some slack because I might take a while to get to the point. So as a sports fan, I watch hockey, and hockey is a predominantly white sport. There's nothing that they're doing that is holding back any race or anything like that. And on the flip side, basketball is predominantly Black. Do you think that perhaps behind the scenes stuff with filmmaking isn't something that's reaching out and engaging to certain minorities? Like I think music production, it's pretty well mixed, but maybe movies on the technical end aren't grasping.
I don't think so. I mean, I know plenty of people of all out here, everyone I know.
You're in LA though too.
Like it's if I meet someone, it's like, okay, are you a grip or are you an actor? But they come in all shapes and sizes. There's no, I don't think there's anything.
But I only say that because I mean, even if you go on YouTube and just like movie channels, people talking about movies, it's got to be 4 or 5 to 1 at least.
There's plenty of more mixed voices out there. Just they just don't get the. At least they don't usually seem to get the same traction, which is highly unfortunate.
Yeah, same attention. Yeah,
like Screen Junkies a few years back, they made like a real thing to hire a couple of people. Now they got Danielle on there, and she's friggin' awesome. But it is still predominantly white. I mean, I love them. I'm not criticizing them at all. But it's I don't know.
I think it's also looking at the environment, right? Like the sacrifices you can make to get into this industry, right? Like you have PAs who work so many hours for so little, and it's like some people have funds and stuff. It's also a class thing. I think someone said that in the chat as well. Like the question of racism and stuff also is on class lines too, where it's like if you have the means to be able to sacrifice and rough it for a few years and be a PA that works 80 hours but really only gets paid for like 50 of them or something like that. But you might also have a trust fund. You might also have parents who's willing to pay or can pay your rent and things like that. But if you're like, you know, someone who comes from, and this is any race, if you're someone who comes from a background where you have to work a job, or you already have a child and you're taking care of the kid, and you can't afford to be working that many hours for so little pay, or like just be on call around the clock because you got a second job to pay your rent, it's very hard to get a footing, right? To be able to, you know, be able to get your own kind of, so it's also about access too. I mean, I remember when I was in college and having my theater degree, like not journalism, but like having a theater degree, you know, it was a thing where for the third and fourth year, we had to do about 40 hours on a show. Mm-hmm. And that meant outside of our classes, we also had to work a few roles on show. Like either I was on one semester, I was lighting crew. The other semester I was on costuming, but like I basically had to stay hours in afterwards. And you had a lot of people who were theater majors who were working class people, and they just couldn't do it. And it was like, how do I fulfill this prerequisite for my degree if I'm not just some happy-go-lucky, no issues college student, you know, who can also go to my classes and then stay here till 10 o'clock at night? Like I got a job, you know?
Yeah. That's what the Pursuit of Happiness is about, right? Like Will Smith is trying to get this great business job, but there's the unpaid intern. I never actually saw it, but like he's trying to struggle through the unpaid internship of it while he's trying to get, right?
Unpaid internship. What's that about?
Exactly.
There's the
you know what it is? It's paid with exposure that's being honest, because paid with exposure is meaningless, and boom.
People die from overexposure.
Yes.
Yes. So I think we talked about this one of the weeks that you weren't here, Chauncey, and you brought up your education, and I've been getting a little flustered because a lot of people have been getting certified on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I remember that comment.
Yes. So I'm asking you again then. As somebody who has gone to school, as somebody who has a college education, how do you feel being thrown together with people that just have an audience, that really don't have? I mean, if I'm being honest, there's a couple of people that I see certified, and I'm like, wow, I know for a fact I know way more than that person. I went to school. I know why this shot exists. I know certain things about so-and-so and this and that. And there's certain people that I've spoken to. What's that?
Tension 101.
Yeah, Peter, you're right on to it. Exactly. One of the people I'm talking about.
Have you tried to get verified, by the way, CP?
No. I don't know anything about sound. So why would I try to talk about, you know? No, I haven't tried to, because there's times where I second guess myself, and I'm like, I don't want somebody coming to me.
Right.
You know, a lot of people value that score, value that site. And if you have some random schmuck who just happens to be popular, you know, it's like making Kim Kardashian head of sex education because, you know, she had a video that sold a lot. That doesn't make any sense to me. Wow,
Fuego does reviews and stuff too. I can, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't have any certification. We're supposedly getting it next month through the horror show, but I mean, I've been through the trenches and all that other stuff as far as, you know, just trying to get stuff to stick on my own in comparison with the horror show. And it's
music though. You covered stuff as a music journalist.
Yeah, well, that was where I got my start, at least. But then I segued into, you know, more like film and television and stuff like that. So it's a daunting process sometimes. I can understand that the cynicism of like putting in a lot of your own work, and it doesn't come as easy, because that's kind of the way that I feel about my personal project in comparison with the horror show at times, because it's like it came a lot easier with the horror show, and that's, you know, a group project in comparison with me by myself, where, you know, sporadically lots of effort and, you know, like months and months and years at a time and things like that, and then just getting disillusioned and like, well, you know, put all my eggs in the horror show basket. So yeah, it's that combination of maybe a little bit of skill, a little bit of know-how, and to just often just having a trending topic, getting lucky. That's how I've seen so many YouTube channels. I'm assuming a few that we are referencing without naming anybody just grow exponentially really quickly and get those sort of certifications.
Sure.
So,
well, I mean, it's as somebody who worked in an industry where people, you know, thrive and say, oh man, someday I wish I could do this. As somebody who did comedy and did it professionally, I can tell you that it takes work. You have to learn certain things about the business, about the art itself.
Yeah.
But some people are just gifted. Some people are gifted and it just comes to them. But for the most part, you've got to learn about what it is you're getting into.
Yeah.
I mean, to use a sports analogy though, it's like there's some guys who they play basketball all 4 years and then they go play overseas and they finally get into the NBA when they're like 24, 25. And then there's guys who used to go right out of high school or they go right out of the first round like a Zion. So I mean, it's a different path for everybody. Sure. I mean, those who really have the skill, the mindset, and they're still refining those. I mean, yeah, it's just about that persistence and that vigilance and perseverance, I suppose. So that's why I'm still doing it.
You know what my certification was? When the director of Krampus retweeted my review of it, and then 2 weeks later, for no reason, kind of retweeted it again. I was like, what? Verification. No, yeah. When I put out my review for Krampus years ago, and I hate that video, but he retweeted it for some reason. And then like 2 weeks later, he retweeted it again. And I was like, oh, that's the best day of my life.
Who retweeted?
Yeah. The director of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess as someone with the Rotten Tomatoes, for me, because that's where I'm certified as a Rotten Tomatoes reviewer. And also, I'm a journalist, full-time journalist.
That's the important part. I want to make it.
But I mean, I don't know, because
I don't know. Like.
This is the thing too. It's like I totally get the thing about audience and stuff, and the wondering of, is that kind of like this idea of, well, why wouldn't this person, even if their quality of the reviews isn't all that great, or maybe they don't really know what they're talking about, and maybe they just kind of they like that explosion and they said that was really cool, and that's they got like 100,000 views, so, or something like that. But I also think, I don't know, I feel like for myself, even with those credentials, I still have imposter syndrome, of course. I'm a younger person, I'm a woman of color, and a predominantly 85% of, film critics are still predominantly white men. And there are times when, knowing that I have a theater degree, so I have like years of study in storytelling and in plot device, and knowing how to do characters, taking a playwriting class, having my play get put up somewhere, in San Francisco and things. So I have that, but I don't have like skill set to know the kind of camera lens sometimes that someone took out or something like that, or fair. Whatever like that. So someone also could be like, well, why did she get verified? What, just because she knows about storytelling, like she doesn't know cinematography? I mean, I do talk about cinematography sometimes. I say, hey, that's Midsummer looked really good, but it's a crap plot.
Amen.
I might say something.
I love how you always hammer that too.
I know. I always have to throw in Midsummer shade. But
the guy in a bear suit. That's all I need. In a bear suit, if that's on fire, it was worth it.
I'd already seen The Wicker Man. The
right?
It's not the same thing. The bear suit guy in The Wicker Man didn't get lit on fire. He took the suit off first.
I found that end scene far more disturbing. I find the end of that original Wicker Man way more just unsettling, personally.
Well, the original, right? Not the Nick Cage one.
I've never even seen the remake with Nick Cage. So.
The Nick Cage one is worth seeing.
Well, and I mean, just to say one thing really quickly, that one thing that maybe is a bit of a bummer, and this isn't like a woe is me kind of thing, but since it is primarily 80+% white men that are critics, that makes a white guy, it's a lot tougher for me to break through, especially with the old Reich and all that other shit. So I don't know. I mean,
I just
it's hard out there.
Chauncey talked about. I mean, you studied, and sure you may not know things about cinematography, but basis of storytelling.
Right. That's really my main thing, because I love storytelling, and I studied it, and that's what I tell people. I got a degree in theater or drama, but really, I mean, it's storytelling. I mean, it's in a different medium, but yeah, that's my way of saying how I dissect it. So when someone wants to get on me about something else, which they have, You know, I guess I say that to say I have felt imposter syndrome too. So I don't ever want to be a person to say you don't belong to be here, because I've had that feeling that people have come towards me with that. So I guess that's
in general, as people, we need to stop gatekeeping. Like, you know, oh wait, do you have 3 PhDs and a master's and a submaster's in this? Well, then you can't talk about that. Like,
no. Everybody can talk about anything.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
to be considered a critic on a platform where like people trust your opinion as critique, I think you need to know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I mean, call it gatekeeping all you want, but if somebody says, yeah, this film sucked, why? Tell me why.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
What I don't think you need to do is in Chauncey's case be like, well, you know, that movie was good because the aspect ratio was really like in the they used the 65 Panavision lenses, and that really changed the.
Wow, the fact that you just said that, I take my hat off to you, sir.
I've watched stuff about Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's like that's stuff that's good to know, right? And that's stuff you can teach yourself, right? That's stuff you can like. There's tons of videos about that on YouTube that will teach you all about that crap. But there's guys who know that will still be like, well, that movie was great because of these reasons. They're like, okay, so the cinematography was good. What about Midsummer? and it's just like, so why was
Midsummer? So then you should make a note like, hi, I'm Joe Sixpack. I specialize in cinematography.
I can tell you why this movie is important and looks good for these reasons. But I don't really care about the story. Whereas Chauncey's like, I understand story structure and how it works all together and stuff. I don't know what lens they used. I don't know if they shot this on 16 millimeter or 35 millimeter. That doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If movies can be great or movies can suck, they can be digital, film, 35 millimeter. Like that's all the nitty gritty. And it's like, it's not as important as why was it a good movie? And if it's only because they use 35 millimeter, it's like, well, then that doesn't make it a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why these respective YouTube channels, depending on what kind they are, they preach to their proverbial choir. You know, it's like there are those people who are real tech heads and they go into that in-depth aspect of the filmmaking and the writing process and all the background. And then, especially in the midst of the whole hate culture we have on YouTube, where people like Angry Joe and these guys who just love totally taking a crap on movies. Yeah. I mean, back to my journalistic background, it's like I really like to look at things as objectively as possible and give credit where it's due and find redeeming value, even if I didn't personally like the movie. You know, I try to find certain things to be positive about in every aspect of my life, not just with critiquing. So.
Which is why I say Midsummer cinematography is great. Every
it's a great
I talk about I find that one positive, and then I go through the rest. Because journalism, you know, I get it.
But also, this summer taught us something we all need to know. If you're going to jump off a cliff, make sure you go head first. Do not go with your legs down. It's not going to end well.
The lessons I learned from Midsummer. That should be a video.
It should be.
Lindsay, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, like, it's so rare to find a movie that's so bad there's nothing redeemable in it. But there's so many videos out there that's like, oh, this is the worst movie ever. There's absolutely nothing good in it. I'm like, I find there's got to be at least one shot, like one music cue, like one actor, one line, like there's usually, like, even The Room. No, as funny as Birdemic, you know, Whitney Moore, like, the movie's terrible, but Whitney Moore is really good in Birdemic. And the same thing with The Room. Like, the movie itself is so bad, but like it's so at odds with itself. Like, you kind of have to enjoy it. There's always something. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think, and I totally just say like what Fuego was saying about like hate culture sometimes on these things. Like I've seen certain videos where people have just, you know, it was a video like of a film that I actually, you know, knew about or whatnot. And I felt like the certain grouping of people kind of basically went to town on it to kind of make it seem like it was like left-leaning people. I think it was Cuties, right? That film Cuties. And they were saying like left-leaning people were saying like, they were like, this is left-leaning people pushing pedophilia, blah, 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 because these girls are gyrating, da, da, da. And you find out it's like this Black French woman, you know, first time, you know, making this film about her childhood. So it's something she's dealt with in France, and she's like Muslim and stuff like, so you already know why they might have had some issues with it, perhaps for whatever their reasoning. But then I see some, you know, reviews, and you know, there's certain reviews that they're just so like blatantly angry, and I think that's kind of their like angle, where it's like, you know, you see the thumbnail and them being like or something like, oh, you know, and it's like over the things that's terrible, and unfortunately people click on it, right? Because you know, people like a good roast, whether they love it or not and stuff. And I feel
hey, roasting stuff that's good business for me. So,
but you get what I'm saying? Like, people love that to a certain degree more than a film where I'm like this, like, you know, and someone's like, oh, this is going to be a real feel good thing about a film that I don't, you know, no one, people, they'll click on that one where I say, this is crap, quicker than something I would say, and I've clicked on some of them, and they got no real reasoning except half of the film is them cursing a lot, or them saying something like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to make a video about this. I'm like, wait a minute, why don't you like this film? I don't get it. I'm really not under this. Is 10 minutes.
That's what I'm
like. This is 10 minutes. Huffing and puffing
about taken seriously. If you want to be taken seriously, tell me why. Tell me why. I loved it. Why? I hated it. Why?
Yeah, exactly. Give the explanation, and that's where like if we only had better distinction for the mindless masses, you know, that are on YouTube and consulting whoever else about an entertainer versus a critic and the distinctive differences between those two things, you know. So
the thing that always gets me is videos that are like blah 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 explained, but they don't actually explain it. They just lay the plot out.
The ending explained videos are the most clickbait bullshit, when it's like a film that had no ambiguity to the ending, and yet I'm going to explain this to you. Just like, come on, man.
I've seen those. I'm like, wait a minute, is there confusion about that film?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, am I out of touch? Like, did I?
Dumb and Dumber explained.
When he got fingered, explained.
I saw that in the theater, sir.
I did too. Daddy, would you like some sausage? I remember.
Some sausage. Yeah.
Where's your LeBaron, Freddie?
And I think that goes into the culture of like, you know, things like Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. Like, some people get a lot of a big audience, but it is the question of the quality that and what they're pushing. So I don't know. And it also depends on if the kind of some people are reviewers for certain types of people. And I'm not saying like certain types like shade, but like people tend to like who they, you know, might be similar to them in watching films. So that might also help, you know, why, you know, someone does see them as an authority because they're thinking they're an authority of how someone like me will like a film. So they're authority in that sense, maybe not in the objective sense, but in the sense of they know me better because we're the same kind of person. Do I think that makes them a great film critic? No, because I think it is a certain kind of craft in itself, but it gets lost on YouTube. Let's just be honest.
My thing used to be that I would think of the audience member. Okay, not how I feel. Will I like it was the name of my channel at one point. Not forget how I feel. Here's who I think would enjoy this movie, and that idea just never worked because people are like, well, what do you think? I'm like, no, I'm trying to tell you who. You know, never mind what I think. This movie is like this. You may like this movie if you like blank, and that. Well,
that's why you started doing your Willy videos. Started having the dilly section, right?
Yeah, did I like it? Yeah.
It's funny because there's certain things like I'll never judge you on your race, hair color.
I will.
Like,
damn
what
Canadian.
political party you're actually like. You're like, I'm of this or. That's fine. What religion you believe in, like for the most part, I won't. Right, but I will judge you harsh on how you drive.
Oh,
I'll judge you really harsh on that, and what movies you say are really good.
Oh,
right? I or really bad. Like there's a guy I'm friends with now, but when I met him 10 years ago, we had our first conversation and we were talking. He's like, "Oh, I love movies," and I'm like, "I love movies. Let's talk." And then we were going through, and he's like, I said, "Well, what about Fight Club?" And he went, "Fight Club is the worst movie ever made." And I was just like, "All right, thanks. Nice talking to you." And I just walked away. And I'm just like, Fight Club is the worst movie ever made? What are you talking about? Fight Club's... And it was just like, and it took me years to kind of start talking to him again. And like, and he can't tell me why Fight Club's the worst movie.
Well, yeah, I think there's these things where people have like knee-jerk reactions, and a lot of it's hyperbole too. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, he was sincere. He's like, "It's just awful. Everything about it's terrible."
Worst ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I'll judge you hard. And so it's like my sister, I love her dearly. Back in the day, there was Flickster. I don't know if you guys remember Flickster on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And when Flickster started, it gave you a test to see how you paired up with your friends. So it asked you like these 10 blockbusters, these 10 romance movies, these 10 thrillers, these 10 sci-fi movies, and you rated them if you'd seen them. You either put I want to see it, I don't want to see it. And my sister literally rated everything either don't want to see it, haven't seen it, or 5 stars, every single movie. And I'm like, they all can't be 5 stars. Like if everything's 5 stars, nothing is 5 stars. Right. It's like
Aaron's got a point here where he says, I've always felt like whether or not a movie is good or bad is actually not subjective. Whether you like a movie or not is subjective.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with, and that's the thing. That goes back to film analysis and film criticism as a craft, as something that is knowledgeable. Because I can say I really love this kind of movie. And I can say I really liked it because I love this actor. I love this little thing that happened. I shipped this couple. But I can also and I've done it where I'm like, I really enjoyed this, but let's be honest, like this movie wasn't very good. I mean, how many times have we said that? Because the structure, Act 3 falls apart. You know, the character is not well developed enough. I have no idea what the through line is. What is the theme? It gets muddled. You can honestly, objectively say those things. And I don't think, honestly, unless someone really just wants to be argumentative or like counter, can really like tell you, oh, the third act didn't fall apart. Oh, yeah, it did. Like, let me, like I can literally explain to you how this didn't happen, or how like Antebellum, like people were saying that Janelle Monáe's character was the only one that was developed. Like all the other black bodies just seemed kind of to be there to die or something. You know, you can actually point to and say that, right? So, I mean, there are objective things you can do in the structure of, I'm just going to go on structure because that's my forte. Like the structure of storyline and storytelling that you can objectively say that didn't work. And I can tell you why. There was a plot hole. This didn't do that. That's how I looked at Us. I was like, I enjoyed Us, but I felt like, I felt like there were some issues in it. I thought it was a decent enough movie. I think it was his best one. No, best one out of all, like the 2 or whatever. No, I thought Out. I know Out. I felt like Get Out was better.
Get Out was
Leaps and bounds.
Us a couple months, like a month or 2 ago, and I was just like, I have so many questions, and there's so many things that like I'm like, if you start nitpicking, it falls apart. But I'm like,
exactly.
At the same time, I liked it, and I liked that he was trying to say certain things, and he didn't necessarily over-explain it so that he left it up to like he did lots of good things, but there's other things in the movie that I'm just like that. Like simple one was like, wait a minute, so the people are where you are underneath you, so
right? Like is everyone in Santa Cruz?
They were at Santa Cruz, but what if they live 100 miles away? They walk underground 100 miles?
Like a magnet. I
was like,
it didn't make sense. There was stuff that was just really exactly, and that's what we were talking about. Like that's the objective. Like you can say that, and no one's going to say, "Well, let me tell you," because I watched it 20 times and I've created this theory in my mind of what he really meant. Although I didn't talk to him, and this is why you're wrong. No one can tell you that and be objective.
That's such a good breakdown of so many YouTubers, Sean.
Like that's not how it works.
That's exactly
like it didn't work. There were plot holes. We can objectively say that. We can still say we liked it though. Like that's the thing. And I agree with Aaron. And like I think, and that's where it comes from. And I guess the question is, what do you lean more towards? And I do think on YouTube there is more of a "did I like it" type reviewers rather than was this a quality film. And I think that's the issue. that we run into on YouTube. I think that's why I also still do, I do written articles a lot because I do lean towards, I tend to like written reviews better sometimes. Cause I think, depending on what I'm trying to say in a video, I have to do it a certain way to be catchy or something. And I don't know, I just feel like it gets lost what I would really want to be objective about.
Yeah. A lot of people are now confusing like nitpicking can be great and fun and everything, but sometimes I think nitpicking gets confused for like actually like analyzing something.
True.
And I think that's in large part because of people like all of us that talk about movies. I mean, not specifically us, obviously, but I think the advent of modern YouTube has contributed to that, which is unfortunate. But I think it's also contributed to a lot of really good online discussion. Like there's so many creators out there that make these great in-depth analysis videos. Like I could give you a huge list, but there's always the crap, and there's obviously more crap than gold. So. Yeah.
Well, it's negativity sells, and
it does.
I mean, not even necessarily that. Like this, like there's like I can't remember the channel right now, but they did like an hour-long review of each of the 50 Shades movie in such depth in a negative way, but also the first one's actually kind of oddly positive, but then he gets kind of more and more negative as he goes, and they're just fun, and it's just such nitty gritty. I enjoy it, and then you got other people that I don't know. Now I'm just ranting. Anyway, I said the thing I wanted to say. Yep. My brain's all scattered. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, that's my life on a daily basis.
Now there is a drastic difference though between print versus like being a talking head, and it's something that in some ways I kind of miss print, which is where I started. I mean, because you can definitely get your absolute thoughts together, and you have time to rewrite and do all of that other stuff. Whereas I usually say my generalized thoughts, but I can't do as much of an in-depth analysis in like a 10-15 minute review, as I can. It's like more of a general opinion sort of thing, and that's what I kind of prefer to do, as opposed to an hour about why I love I don't know, Aliens or The Blob or something like that. So although I could do that.
I've had people look at my letterbox list. Usually I have on letterbox the IMDb-ish site.
Yeah.
I rank.
I'm at 111 now.
I rank the movies every year I watch them, and I have different scores, even though the movies every now and again I'll have a movie that's ranked lower, but some movies have higher stars. The stars for me is if I feel it's a good movie, and then where it's ranked is how I like it. So people have been like, wait, you gave this movie 3 stars, but it's below that movie with 1.5 stars. And I was like, yeah, the 1.5 star movie I had fun with, but it's shit. The one that I didn't like so much is actually a well-made movie. And I don't know, it's differentiated.
This is my life. So like whenever I used to do top 10 lists for the year, I used to be very clear, like, this is not my favorites list. This is what I think are the best 10 movies of the year. Because last year, my favorite movie of the year was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The movie that I think is best last year was 1917. Now I haven't seen Parasite yet, so don't yell at me.
Oh, get on!
You shouldn't have won Best Picture.
I haven't seen Parasite, so I can't compare that. But I think 1917 is the best movie so far that I've seen from last year. But it's not my favorite. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was. So it's those are two different things. So what I think is best and what I think is favorite, we tend to go, well, they're the same thing. No, they're not.
No, they're not. They're
drastically different. Yeah, in every possible way. And in some ways, for me, I kind of prefer doing a favorites list sometimes because, I mean, I can say a film is immensely made, but like how well did it move me to laugh, to cry, whatever, So, yeah. I mean,
favorites is no one can go, that's not your favorite. It's like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they can't really argue with you about it. Yeah. But they can't argue with you about objective, and they do tend to argue. And I agree, Once Upon a Time is like one of my fave films, and we watch it a lot here. So it's like, we just watched Inglourious Basterds the other day. I love Tarantino, so
yeah, that one holds up.
That one I think is the best film, personally, and I know people disagree with me on that one.
I think it is one of his best ones or whatever. The Django was okay.
I like Django a lot too. but Inglourious is just it's so good.
I'm in the minority again. I really like The Hateful Eight. I know no one else does, but
I love
The Hateful Eight.
I like The Hateful Eight.
Hey.
Top 5. I love it. And CP was nice enough to send me the thing, the program, which I have framed on my wall because I went and saw it in 70mm and they didn't have the program, so I was so disappointed.
I've been wanting to watch that extended Netflix cut because don't they have a longer cut on Netflix? Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that.
No, they did. They did it. It's like a 4 hour cut of it.
Yep.
Aaron, you can't develop an opinion like that if you don't. Aaron says, I didn't need to watch 1 second of Cuties to know I would just be pissed off. Ooh. How do you know, Aaron?
Well, if you saw the trailer, I guess maybe. That's 1 second. See,
I'll say that I watched Cuties, and the problem is people are blowing it out of proportion because of limited information. It's presented as a way to shame adults. You know, we have these.
It's anti-beauty pageant for kids.
Right? Yeah, we have beauty pageants for fucking 5-year-olds in this country, and it's kind of to twist on that idea and be like, who the fuck started this shit? This is these kids are way too young. The story. I think it has a lot to do with the way they're brought up, the environment that they're brought up in, and the story on the surface. If you just see it as kids being taken advantage of, you're missing the point. And you can, which is fine, but the movie is is actually telling what you're trying to say. There's a lot to that movie. There's certainly moments as somebody who's watched it where they don't open up with it, but it's about these girls that try to do dancing that is provocative, suggestive. But if you base it on pop music and what anybody could catch on whatever the equivalent of MTV is these days, it's just right there in the open, and who's to blame for that? Is it the parents' fault, the kids' fault? There's a lot to that movie that I just think you can't just write it off as they're taking advantage of children. Right? Yeah, they're trying to tell you that, not we're exploiting children.
Which is
you are exploiting children.
Well, that's kind of what happened with The Hunt last summer when everyone's like, oh, it's just about killing Republicans. But then the movie comes out and it's like, it's about killing Republicans, but it's also painting Democrats as useless idiots.
Yeah, that was a film that it didn't hold any punches, man. It was like, I'm going to go after both sides. And I mean, inevitably, maybe when you go after both sides, do you end up saying anything like Chauncey was mentioning?
Exactly,
so.
You're completely right about that, by the way, Chauncey. I forgot to say that earlier. But I just never forget that people got so upset over one trailer, and then it's not really at all what they thought it was.
Yeah, I remember, like they delayed it, right? The Hunt.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, it was told after Trumpy Poo, Mr. Orange Cheeto Man was tweeting about it, and he was like, "This awful film," and so on.
There was shooting, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's like a shooting right by the release.
But that didn't even make much sense to me. But once you see the film, why they would have to do that because of the shooting either. So I don't know. Yeah, it was. I mean, I think it's. Once again, I think with films and the messaging you want, I mean, it depends on like what you're willing to sit through, right? It's like, like even with Cuties, like maybe, Aaron saw it, it was like, hi, Peter. But like, maybe Aaron saw the trailer and like, nah, I'm good. And like I said, like 12 Years a Slave and stuff like that. I've seen it. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't, but then again, I've had times where I've been, nah, I'm good. And then I end up watching it. And I'm like, wow, I really I kind of have my reservations about, as a DC girl, of a Joker film, of another film that was having Joker as the main person. And I love Joker. I did a video and I also did a written published article for it. And I really loved everything it was saying. Now, that was a film that had a point, right? Yeah. On some great levels, in my opinion. But, had I just written it off as being like, oh my gosh, they're glorifying incels or something, I would have never watched it.
It's so funny because it's like, no, they're not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he actually wasn't in it. It was a totally different kind of character approach. But the way that it was getting pushed online, you know, the way that, and this is the drawback of social media. Sometimes I'm getting to the point where sometimes I don't want to look up what people are saying on Twitter about film for a show until I've like looked at it. Now I'll read reviews and stuff because it would be wrong for me to say I want to read a review, right? But like I'll read a review from people I, you know, trust and care. But a lot of times, you know, on Twitter, I'm just like, I feel like some of these people are blowing something out of proportion or something.
I feel like that's all Twitter is.
Oh, absolutely. And it was the Cuties poster with them all doing the kissy face, which was what started the uproar initially. And that's why so many people got the film misconstrued, I would imagine, similar to Catherine Hardwicke's movie 13 with Evan Rachel Wood that she did like 15 years ago or something. Kids, exactly. Where it was a cautionary tale, and yet people thought it was an exploitation tale, and it's obviously not the same thing.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, to anybody, to each their own. If you don't want to watch a movie for a certain reason, that's fine. But I don't think you could build a certain opinion about the content of the film if you don't know what's going on in there, because they could be saying the same message that you're actually there's a reason why you're rejecting the film, which I feel. Because Cuties, I think I'm covering for who would like that. With that, and perhaps Antebellum. Long story short.
I can't remember. Did Little Miss Sunshine have a backlash like this when it first came out? I wasn't following movie news back. It was just a little Lindsay.
No, I think a lot of the ending of that movie was hidden. I think until it was out, like the whole. I see what you're saying. Okay. What she does, like I think they kind of kept that.
Oh, yeah, because the marketing didn't. Okay, yeah, that's okay.
So I don't think most people would have known about it. And then, like when that came out,
she didn't dress provocatively though.
And that's one of the big things. Breslin, they didn't doll her up until the end. They made her look nerdy and kind of like with the little gut and stuff. And so,
and social media wasn't as big back then as it is now. So probably. Like if that was released today, I wonder if that would get a bigger hit of negativity about it.
Maybe
possibly.
Yeah, it is. It's odd.
Can I play something for you guys?
No. Yes.
This is what I heard when I left.
Oh, you recorded it. I can dance to this, I can get down to that.
That's sick.
I was just like, okay, screw it. And
it's like the backing track to like a Rammstein song.
Right.
Okay, so let's get to light stuff, huh?
Yeah.
So October is the month of horror movies as far as I'm concerned, or I don't know if anybody...
horror's year round, sir.
Excuse me.
All of Vegas life is a horror.
Yeah. It glows brighter in October. Is that better? So
it is cranked up. Yeah.
It seems as if that Craft remake that was supposed to get pushed back is actually not getting pushed back and is maintained.
There a trailer for that?
No,
not yet. And it's a movie we don't need, but it's still coming.
It's coming in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We have nothing on it.
Like I just realized the other day, earlier today, there's a Mortal Kombat movie coming in January, and we haven't seen a frame of it.
I can't wait. James Wan produced, man. I'm stoked for that movie. R-rated as well. It could be awful, but
I'm interested, but like it's just so weird that we're gonna just start getting these movies that we haven't seen anything about. It's gonna be like when Netflix is like, oh, by the way, there's a Cloverfield movie up you can just go watch right now. It's like, oh, what? And then we all go and watch it.
Those Cloverfield movies feel like Hellraisers, where they're just like, hey, here's a script. We'll just throw
I forget they did that with Hellraiser. That's right. I've seen the first one of those. I should watch some of the sequels just for fun.
I've seen the first one, and then I saw one in space when I was younger.
That's the fourth one, dude. It's actually maybe the second best sequel. We reviewed all of the Hellraiser movies a few months ago. Every single one. They're all in the can, just waiting to get released. So.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I saw the first one, and then I saw the space one before I'd seen the first one. So I have no clue what's going on. And yeah,
you watch the first one, you're like, wait, this isn't in space. What is this?
What the hell are they doing in a house? So how do we feel about craft?
Yeah.
The news of it?
I love the original film. I'm not excited for this one. This feels very much like the Black Christmas that we got recently. I mean, we'll see. But also Blumhouse, right?
Yeah, Blumhouse. And again, Blumhouse, he had this other movie that was due out in October, for the Halloween season, that if you were just going to stay the course, why not just release Halloween Kills to VOD? Because I think
it's the higher profile ones that they're holding off on,
I think Tenet should teach people, listen, just go. Enough.
Well, not Tenet, but Mulan, which apparently didn't make anywhere near as much money as they initially projected. So
did you see it? It's kind of
really? Dude, I liked it. I liked it. Yeah, I've never seen the original animated, so I didn't have anything coming in.
Yeah.
As far as
that's what we were talking about. That's what we were talking about the other week, where we were saying, like, if you don't have anything to compare it to, I felt like it was like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of vibes.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, but I mean, I thought it was well made and solid story and good performances. Like the cast a lot. I know they've had some backlash for where they shot it, right? So
that's
it's another can of worms. But
well, I think the lead actress also said something weird about Hong Kong, so it got weird politically.
That's a movie of tragedies.
It is. There's a lot of stuff like came out. It was I don't know, with that much bad juju around it. I don't know.
True. But I mean, these bigger tentpole releases, though, maybe they should learn from Tenet, but the studios with like delaying West Side Story a whole year to next Christmas, delaying Black Widow from November to next May, they're still not willing, and that's a for better or for worse sort of situation, I guess. So.
And it's not getting better for theaters. I saw a thing today that theaters need to start making money now, and they need to start making that money at 75% capacity minimum. Yeah. That's what AMC said.
Yeah.
And they're only doing nighttime shows. It's like 5 o'clock onward. They're doing like a 5 and a 7, no daytime screenings anymore, which they were initially doing upon reopening. They're not doing it anymore. That's why we're seeing Empire Strikes Back, and there's a part of me that wants to go watch Akira in 4K because they have it in 4K at the theater.
I went and watched. I saw Akira.
Yeah, I've never seen it on a big screen, and it's in 4K, and I'm like, damn.
Wait, did you say Rocky Horror or Akira?
No, Akira.
I thought you said Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I took my family to see it in 4K, and I've never actually. I grew up on it on video cassette, and so I only had the English dubbed. So this was the first time I'd ever actually got to listen to it in Japanese. Yeah, it's so good. I still like the original English dub because I grew up with it, but which is funny because I once bought it on DVD, was super stoked to put it in, and they'd redubbed it, and I was like, it was so hard to listen to because of the voices being changed that I had to like give it up and wait until I got it on Blu-ray, which they have it all. Like they have all the language tracks, but no, it's amazing in theater. If you get a chance to see Akira in theaters,
I'm thinking of going. I've been to a theater a couple times already. I'm just hesitant to return for something. I have the deluxe edition that you just mentioned.
No, it's really awesome. So I saw it in theaters on the IMAX screen. So it was really
brings up if Blumhouse gets his hand on a Friday. The day it's possible with this BS that's going through, I'll give up on life. There's lots of rumors going around about Friday the 13th. Nothing has happened with that lawsuit yet. So forget. I don't know where this rumor started. What's her name?
There was a website called We've Got This Covered. That's probably who it was.
Which they don't have covered. They got nothing covered.
They're a bunch of hack artists.
What's her name? The woman from Babysitter.
My beloved Samara Weaving.
Yes. So there was a rumor that Samara Weaving would be starring in a new Friday the 13th movie coming out.
Be still my heart. Bring it if that's the case. But
not
good casting.
Ready or Not?
Yeah.
And she was supposed to be in this new Scream movie, but due to scheduling constraints, she wasn't able to do it because the Ready or Not guys are doing this new Scream soft reboot, whatever you want to call it. So
yeah, so Friday the 13th is still locked in courtroom hell. So every rumor that you see, Bliss, yeah. Fuego and I have inside connections that can speak to a lot of contrary things regarding the Friday the 13th franchise. So when you read shit like that, what's the deal with the court? Find out what the court deal is first before you read names like what was it? Blum was going to buy it at one point, and then LeBron James was going to buy it at one point.
I heard the LeBron James one. Yeah. He was. I'd be down for that too. I mean, he's trying to make his name in Hollywood. Why the hell not? But,
well, yeah,
when's the next Space Jam coming out? He did that, right? Yeah. When's Space Jam coming out?
They actually, they released the logo for it and everything, so it is apparently finally happening.
Well, it's probably shot all digital, right? So it's got to probably take a while.
Green screen.
Which reminds me, James Cameron says that Avatar 2 is just about done.
There's always some news on Avatar. It's just like, and he's always, who's he updating? Like, I don't know who's anticipating this film sometimes. Like, it's just like, so you guys know, it's like no one was asking. Maybe somebody.
I mean, if Avatar 2 is good, I'm in, man. Like, sure, whatever. Give me this. But if
you want 6 of them without knowing anything?
Wait, what?
You want 6 of them without knowing anything?
Oh no! I hate that release model. I hate that.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, doing it, but like, yeah, I mean, sure. if this is good, let's make a franchise. Why not? But
and we are totally getting 2 and 3 because the report that he was giving the recent interview, he said they're 100% done with 2, and they're like 95% done with 3 because they're filming them together. So we're at least getting 2 and 3. Whether we get the prequel and the 4th one and all this other crap, it's going to depend on the box office and if people even give a crap about this franchise. You know,
I liked Avatar. I thought it was good. I thought the 3D technology was fun. You know, it's like it was like he used it well.
Yeah.
But if you would have told me that he would not make a movie since then, like I would have much rather him be like, yeah, that was good, and walk away and make something else in the last 10 years. Like,
right. So
10 years, he hasn't made a freaking thing.
He made a documentary about undersea diving, Sanctum or something like that.
So
the quote is,
I think he's a talented filmmaker. I would like to see more than just Avatar from him for the rest of his life.
Yeah, the quote is Avatar. Quote is Avatar 2 has finished filming. Avatar 3 is 95% complete. They just finished filming, so they still got to do all that stuff in post.
Yeah.
Well, if he loves it, I guess.
I'm sure he got the money to piss away. I guess
he's made so much money. Like Hollywood, like I have a feeling at this point, if he approached the studio and said, "This is what I want to make," they'll just give him the money no matter what it is.
It's him.
Like, yeah,
he should have just made True Lies 2 in the meantime because goddamn, man,
so good.
I love that.
I love that film.
I don't think there's no arguments here, Chauncey. I think we're all on the same boat here.
Everyone wants that movie. Yeah. I'll take that over Avatar 2 any day of the week.
Yeah. It's a snow cone maker. It's an ice cream machine or whatever he says.
You know what I would like to see? I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Like, I wish we lived in the timeline where instead of spending half of his life making Avatar movies, James Cameron actually did get to make Alita. But then Avatar, along with like 600 pages of notes, just dropped on Robert Rodriguez. So, I think that would have been fun. But I don't know.
I still liked Alita. I mean, it wasn't perfect or anything, but
I liked Alita. I have a friend that CP knows well that like loves Alita Battle Angel, and I'm just like, I liked it. I thought it was good. Like, it's
fine.
It's just not like he thinks it's one of the best films of that year. Brian Lomax. Sorry.
Love you, Brian.
Brian, yeah.
I loves that movie, and I was like, I enjoyed it. It was fine. I haven't wanted to watch it since.
So, M. Night Shyamalan released the title and poster to his new movie.
Called The Last Airbender Rides Again, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, his tweet is, "Feels like a miracle. I'm standing here shooting the first shot of my new film. It's called Old." He posted on Twitter.
Good for him.
And it's a poster of black and white. Looks like people or something falling down.
Is he financing this one by himself again?
I know it's based on a graphic novel, so it's him once again adapting a pre-existing property as opposed to him doing something himself. I think it's about a bunch of kids on an island, and there's some mysterious secret. I'm like, oh, is this Lost or something? Like, what the hell, man?
There's a hatch, and then people are dead.
Maybe Lord of the Flies kind of vibe.
That's kind of what Lost is. Give me more Lost. I'll take a redo of Lost.
Honestly, I'm nervous. Like the last time M. Night tackled a movie that
M. Night's not flawless again. I don't think. I don't think.
Really?
I didn't like Glass at all. That's where all of the goodwill that he had like redeemed himself to me with, and then I didn't like Glass.
So. I like 2/3 of Glass.
Yeah, no, Split was great. It's just that's it. So all right, so you've got one decent movie in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Let's
and the fact that this movie seems to be like harking back to The Visit, which I think is probably his worst movie, if not one. And so it's like thematically, it's like why are you? What is this thing with age you have going on right now? And are you not comfortable with how you're aging? Like, why are you tackling these movies in less than 10 years? This is weird.
Again, as somebody who witnessed him mock the old people character, I literally sat in a theater with him. We were at a premiere, me and Tim from Reviewed Later, or the Late Reviews. M. Night came and spoke to other YouTubers and told them that he was speaking in jest about the grandparent characters, and I think like he was joking about the fact that they had Alzheimer's, and it was like, dude, I don't think you know what feelings. You have no idea what people go through, huh?
Yeah, because I didn't find any of that shit funny. That was just scary and sad. Yeah.
We thought we were in like another planet or some shit because both Tim and I were looking at each other. The whole house was laughing, and we're like, "Is there some sort of message that we've missed that we're supposed to be laughing?" Because
they wanted to be in his next movie. That's why they laughed. They were like, "Oh, that's so funny! Please cast me." I'm sure make a transition.
I'm here. Laugh at what he says.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what that was. Have you not gone to an LA meeting of some like a showcase? Lindsay knows where people just laugh at people. Oh, that's so funny. Please cast me. Please let me work on your film.
Oh yeah, no, I've not completed, but I've made movies where I've had actors read for my stuff. Oh, this script is really good. I'm like, yeah, just read the fucking thing. Who cares? I don't have money. Just read it.
Send you a thank you note later. Yeah. It was so great reading your script. I just want you to know this is my name so you can remember me.
Here's my business card. Here's 4 different pictures of me in completely different situations. Here I am as a police officer.
Hey, you gotta hustle. That's the game.
I brought coffee to Asians before. I get it. Don't get me wrong.
I was gonna ask a question though. I mean, I know we're still doing maybe at the end because we did mention like the whole thing about how theaters need to make money now and whatnot. Maybe like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago about the future of theaters. I mean, now that we're still without a vaccine and we're going towards and things like that, maybe people's thoughts on what the new normal might really be now that we're probably going to deal with going into 2021, still not having theaters really be capable or whatnot. Or maybe even towards the spring. I mean, if we think about the vaccine having to actually be distributed around people, like what they're saying, like how it has to be at room temp, like has to be freezing cold, and we're actually at a dry ice shortage at the moment in the world.
Oh, are we?
Somehow, yeah. And that's what they need to store the vaccines that are actually. It's like some weird. I feel like if I was on the outside of this and this was a movie, I'd kind of laugh. But like certain things that we need, and then they're not readily available. So yeah, just thinking about the future of theaters.
Like I think like when they make 2020 the movie. And it's like a big disaster film. I wonder who's playing Trump. That's all I'm asking.
He will.
Funny.
Yeah,
He will. He'll need the money.
He's like, I will get some orange. It'll be fine.
I think that there's at the very least there's damage. There's damage done to theaters.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, mom and pops, because you could kiss those goodbye. There's no way they were able to, without some sort of huge piggy bank disaster fund. There's no way a independent house is able to ride this year out. No. I mean, even AMC said they're getting close to being bankrupt. What this might do is it might cause theaters to figure something out, and we might see less theaters, and it took this long for people to figure out, my entertainment is in my fucking hands. It's in my living room. Just like I've said this before, just like I said, Blockbuster really didn't respect the Netflix model, and now movie rental places are just, what are they? They're a red box at a supermarket at best. Yeah. At best. So I unfortunately, it's not like it's something they could see coming, but I think theaters as an experience that we know 2 years ago, it's going to be a little bit different at the absolute bare minimum.
Yeah, most def. And they're saying the same thing about, live concerts. We've seen with sporting events how they're trying, but I don't think people are ever going to stop missing being live at a concert or live at a sporting event. I feel like it is a little bit different with films, though, especially with the advent of streaming and so many options and so much theater quality entertainment at our fingertips at home with our huge screens and terrific sound systems and everything. That's the one of those different entertainment aspects. Sorry, I got an eyelash that's going down. But yeah, that's the one that I think is going to suffer the most from people not giving as much of a crap about being there for the communal live experience. So
yeah. Oh shit! It just went out of my head. I had a thought, and
I talked too long.
Oh no, it faded. Shit.
Yeah, I'll jump in until you do that.
Go ahead.
So Peter. Yeah, no, it's the thing, right? Like they're if you look at how much percentage of films that are made nowadays, that there's no there are filmmakers who are making films to be seen on laptops and 50-inch TVs, and then there's the opposite of that, where there's Nolan, who's like, no, I make movies to be seen on theater screens, to be seen like. So it's like someone apparently, I think, said to him once, like, "Oh, I saw your movie on the plane." It's like, you haven't seen my movie, because it's like my movie's supposed to be freaking 100 feet high. That's the movie, and it's like that's what he makes it for. Now, like once upon a time, that was all there was, right? Like when I was a kid, video like VHS was coming on the scene, but. I literally went and saw E.T. for my birthday one year, and then the next year saw it for my birthday because it would stay in theaters that long. Yeah. It's just a different world now. There's so much, so many things.
Things don't last. The old model of a movie dominating for a month, that's gone. It's so. What have you done for me lately? You hope for 10 days and run with it. And even now, on top of that, what frustrates me, we've had 7 months of this, close to 7 months of this, where Trolls made fucking way more than they ever would have imagined. Yeah. What frustrates me is, release some of those indie movies that would be Oscar bait in December now, and just plug it. I don't know why they're You're not going to, if you can't, indie movies weren't going to make it to the theaters anyway. So get this time last year, they should have given us Parasite, like something like that. I don't know how else to put it. It makes no sense to me why nobody is jumping on this VOD thing, where, Bill and Ted quite did all right.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Well, just to chime in though, it is starting to kind of happen because we just got the news the other day that that new Russo brothers film that was supposed to be in theaters, the one with Tom Holland, and it's called Cherry, where he's a post-war guy who is addicted to opioids, PTSD, starts robbing banks and stuff. In a $50 million deal, it's apparently going to show up in early 2021 on Apple TV Plus, so that it can contend for Oscars and award season and stuff like that. So maybe that's the first of many of these smaller, more indie-ish Oscar contender kind of films that are going to follow suit, because they're obviously recalibrating some of the specifications in this new era, so to speak. So yeah, maybe we'll see a lot more of that. I think you're right, dude. I would anticipate we're going to see the floodgates open in the coming months.
Well, like I said, I for the life of me, and as somebody who has rather interesting knowledge of the subject, Halloween Kills really should be released this month, straight to VOD. Again, if you can't put it in theater, oh well. If you can, sure, but people like watching that shit at home, and it's not like there's much to compete with. So I don't understand why they keep pushing. Like, it seems like they're pushing everything back, and it's like, well, 2021 better be the best movie year in history.
It'll be the most congested, that's for sure, man.
Like even now, like for December, in the same day they have, what is it, Dune?
Yeah.
And 2 other movies. What is the other movie coming out?
Well, I know Wonder Woman got delayed to Christmas Day. It was originally supposed to come out next month.
Dune and what the freak? Like, there's at least 3 movies going to be out at the same time that are all big.
It was originally supposed to be West Side Story, and they delayed it a whole year.
They moved that all the way to 2021 December, December 2021.
Yep.
And there's just too many movies coming out. They're just gonna steal money from each other. I don't. It's.
And I mean, are they just sitting on money, CP? Do you think that's what they're doing? It's like money they could be making, so they're just sitting, waiting on and doing nothing. It's not like it's accumulating interest or something in the meantime.
Like there's the one that I think we always go back and point to. A Quiet Place 2 screened. Yeah. It's screened for critics. What are you waiting for? Like, what? People are going to forget the fucking movie. Get it out there. I think some people are like, some movies, sure, like I don't know, Top Gun, you could fuck around with because people, they know Top Gun. There's some movies that interest will wane. So what exactly is there to lose by releasing it to VOD anyway? Because like I said, Tenet is supposed to be this monster, and it just isn't. So
well, that was the test bunny, right? And it turns out it failed, and so now they're just licking their wounds, trying to figure stuff out. We had such a surreal situation about a week and a half ago. Cecil and I, we go to this early screening, first one we had in forever, and so we're sitting in the theater, everybody's spaced and whatnot, like I told you guys when we previously went to the theater, and we were seeing Gerard Butler's Greenland, which was this big disaster movie from the same guy. He did some of those Olympus Fallen or London Fallen, I don't know which one, but so yeah, a big spectacle. Not that bad of a movie, actually. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't love it or anything, but solid performances, great effects. And as him and I are walking out of the theater, the rep walks up to us and she's like, "Were you guys planning on reviewing this?" And she's like, Cecil, come over here. And we're like, "Of course, we're going to go film it right now." And she's like, "Well, you can't because we're delaying it to next year." And that was after they had just shown it to us. And we were like, this is the world we live in as far as cinema and just film punditry goes. So yeah,
it's really
tell
funny.
me about it.
Yeah.
You saw it though, right?
Oh yeah. They told us as we were walking out that we couldn't review it until they deemed it okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about what that's like, Fuego. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Look, I didn't see Sinister 2 6 months before its release at one of those test screen things, and then write my review and didn't release it till the movie came out just so I could double check my things, and yep, I was still good, and then click.
That actually happened to me just about a month ago with a film that doesn't come out till next year, and it was with the unfinished effects and stuff like that, and it was the first time I'd signed an NDA in a while, but it was a pretty shitty movie, unfortunately. So
I love the unfinished effects. It's so charming. And, like I really fun experience to watch a like 95% done movie. I really like it. That's why I wish the Snyder Cut was going to end up being that instead of the 6-part movie series. Or
and all that new money they've thrown into it. I'm like, well, what? Was it done or was it not? I'm not going to start. I'm not going to do that. DC World, I can say no negatives.
It was done.
But I'm ready.
I saw Lindsay tweeting a lot about that and just being like, oh, but we need $20 million of reshoots. Like,
I was tempted to retweet it, but I knew I'd get crap. And I'm like, nah, I'm ready. The Snyder Cut. Sure. Yeah. But why did you need that much money if it was pretty much done? I don't get it. All right.
Well, yeah, specifically so that they could shoot like stuff at the, because, you know, they're releasing it episodically. It's stuff like for the end and the beginning of episodes to, but still, like, that's a lot of money.
It is strange. I don't know if that's Snyder or because Warner officially took it on. So Warner took it on, and they're basically saying, all right, well, there's some buzz. So let's put some more money behind it.
Well, heck, like since then, Henry Cavill has signed on for 3 more films.
Oh, has he?
Ben Affleck, to be Superman for 3 more films. Ben Affleck has agreed to come back for something.
Yeah.
Like,
he's going to be in the Flash movie with him and Keaton. They're coming back. So.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like this is a jumping off point that they're like. I literally thought that universe was dead.
Yeah.
To a degree, and now they're just like, oh no, because there's so much interest in the Snyder Cut. So I think there was a cut that was very unfinished, but it was there.
Right, the assembly cut,
And now they want to remake a movie. Yeah.
And then they finally, because he showed it to Jason Momoa, he showed it to a couple other people.
Yeah, I think Ben Affleck saw it too. Ben
Affleck saw it. So it's like there was a cut, but it was just very unpolished. And then I think Warner Brothers went, well, if we're going to release it, we might as well dump some more money into it and give you what you wanted in the first place, anyways. And
it's because of COVID. They need content
of movies. Was it finished? Was it not finished? Well, I don't know. Is it alive in the box or is it dead in the box? Who knows? It's like
what's in the box?
That's what it was. So. Dune is December 17th. Coming to America 2 is December 17th.
goddamn.
And Death on the Nile is December 17th.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that.
So and then right before that is Free Guy and Peter Rabbit 2. And then right after that is Wonder Woman.
One of those is getting bumped.
So it's like you have Wonder Woman coming like literally 1 week afterwards. So
no chance.
So something's getting like there's no way they're going to put those 3 movies on the same day. Someone's got to blink. Like
I think Dune is moving, as sad as it makes me, because it was my most anticipated film of like this year, honestly, and definitely that season. So yeah, it's going to get pushed.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything for Halloween, not Halloween, Thanksgiving week. No Time to Die. Never mind.
Yeah.
Which is that going to stick around? I still wonder. My dad asks me all the time, "When's the new Bond coming out, son?" And I'm like, "Well, it's supposedly still November, Dad."
I think they're going to move it. Who wants to play
November 20th? November 20th. I mean, somebody's got to take that spot.
Widow to freaking May.
Sure.
So
I don't even know when Black Widow's coming out.
May.
I swear that's going to end up being on Disney Plus. You know that's going to. Yeah. Or what's the Pikachu line from Detective Pikachu? I can feel it in my
jellies.
Whatever. Jellies, okay.
They should. It will be okay. I mean, why not? I mean, at this point, so many changes are going to have to happen because of, Chadwick and passing and things like that. The whole timeline of what they have for the next phase, it's going to be, who knows?
Did you see the story that he gave a significant sum of his 21 Bridges salary to
Sienna Miller.
Sienna Miller, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
Because she was getting paid?
Well, it was the same thing as the Avengers 1, where Robert Downey found out he was making so much more than the other actors.
Yeah.
It's
Robert
the same thing.
50, everyone else made 2.
Oh, wow. It was that bad? I didn't realize it was that bad.
Robert made 50. Because he renegotiated his contract, so he was making 50 and everyone else was still like making $2 million.
And also he was getting some on the back end too, right?
Yeah.
That scoundrel.
He's just like, yeah, give it to me. You want me in the movies more? But yeah, everyone else was still in their old contracted Avengers.
It's just bullshit. The good die young. You hear more stories about this guy of what a
he's a really great person.
I personally, I'm going to just say this. I don't know if it's been official yet, but like I was talking to someone about Black Panther 2, and I'm like, the number one thing they can't do is recast him. Like, don't dare recast Chadwick Boseman. Let it go. So I'm like, they got to open that movie with a sequel, or like
let this be your own thing.
Hand off to the sister. It's what they do in the comics, right?
Sister. It's like give it to his sister. It makes so much sense.
I think that's gonna be what they have to do. I think, and it had, like we said, it happened in the comics. I think that's the best way. But I think they're gonna, with everything that's going on, that was already being pushed because they were gonna push it anyway. So now with this, who knows? And then with everything else, they have a whole, how MCU does. They do a whole phase or whatever like that. So I mean, I just think they got to recalibrate, and maybe this is why they're putting more into the Snyder cut, because it's kind of like, well, here's our chance to finally like come in and do it. But I don't know. I feel like they should have let that die and try to build a new universe a little bit in DC. But that's just me, because I didn't like the Justice League movie. I can't even remember the Justice League movie, and that makes me sad because I think I just blocked out so much from it where I was just like.
It's a weirdly forgettable movie for the characters.
It is. I really can't remember a lot of it. I'm like, what really happened in that film?
I kind of liked it. I honestly, I had a really good time watching it in theaters, but it did just kind of just go out the brain.
And that shouldn't be a thing with Justice League. I mean, it is the better group movie between MC and DC.
Wait, do you think Justice League is better than Avengers?
Not the movie. I think the characters, the comics, there's just a lot better going on.
I understand what you're saying.
The comics, Batman and Superman could take on the Avengers and eat their lunch.
I agree. I was just clarifying what I heard.
That's why it was so sad, because they just really dropped the ball with that movie, and they could have done so much more, so many layers than the Disney-fied Avengers thing was with Justice League, and they just, I
actually argue to this day that, as much of a mess as the Justice League that we got was, there is one thing that sticks with me that it did very well that the original Avengers did not do. Avengers is about the power of friendship and nothing else. It's got nothing going on under the hood other than the power of friendship. Justice League, it's got a little thing about hope in there.
Yeah.
They keep talking about it, and the whole point of the movie is don't give up on it, and it's simple, it's basic as hell, but it's something.
And even like at the end where like Batman's willing to die, like he's like, I'm just gonna kill myself to kill all these guys, and they're like, no, because we want you to stick around. It's hope. It's a
dramatic horror. Like, again, it's basic, but it's better than the power of friendship. I don't know.
The power of friendship compels you.
Yeah.
The highest. It's just to calm the fucking chat down. Everybody's going bonkers. Chill the fuck out. Respect each other, please.
What happened?
They're just bitching at each other.
Oh, I see what's going on now.
The highest grossing film in domestic history is Star Wars Episode 7: Force Awakens with 936. The highest grossing film in worldwide history is Avengers Endgame with $2.79 billion.
And if we adjust for inflation, it's Gone with the Wind with $5 billion.
Still Gone with the Wind.
Yes, and each of the movies that you're talking about, Endgame, Avatar, Titanic, Star Wars, Avengers, and not Jurassic World, those all had multiple releases in theaters. It's a popular thing. So stop. Sorry. Kids?
Let them have it.
Also, can we just talk about how it sucks that Gone with the Wind is the most successful movie of all? Have you ever tried to watch that movie? It is so goddamn slow.
I've watched it once. I'll probably watch it one more time in my life.
Before I die, I get the second viewing in.
But, I'm okay not if I never see it again. I'm like, it's all right.
All right.
Yeah, that's another question, Jacob. Jacob says, how much will Titanic versus Ice Shark make?
Wait, that's a thing?
No, maybe.
Okay.
Well,
is
we're talking
Sharknado.
about Uncorked. It's always a possibility. There's that six-headed shark thing that just came.
Ice shark.
Ice shark.
What I don't know. Just sharks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, land shark, Arkansas Women's Prison. I mean,
We have,
it's
Santa Jaws is on Amazon.
Yeah, what is with the fucking shark subculture? Why is there so many sharks?
It's very good sub-genre. I mean, why are you hating? It's good.
You can thank the Sci-Fi Channel for it, man. I mean, that's
honestly, but even before Sharknado too, right? There were some great ones. Them and like super alligator cyborg ones type thing versus those are some quality films. Not
I think
quality
it's
like
Jaws.
but fun.
Good time.
Yeah, I think it's Jaws and then Shark Week on Discovery Channel. Just kept on plugging away at people. And they went, hey, we can make movies about these.
What happened?
I think it's Jaws, and then Shark Week was big for a while, and Discovery.
Oh, it still crushes in the ratings from what I've seen.
I think like movie producers just went, we could probably make Jaws movies really cheap, and then like just became more and more ridiculous. Like I remember seeing one that was about snow sharks that like are up in the mountains, and so like it's just what was the next Sharknado, and then 3-headed shark and 6-headed shark. And
you guys ever heard the song Baby Shark? Do Baby Shark. Do. Like sharks are dope. Who doesn't like street sharks?
Yes, the best Ninja Turtles ripoff we got.
Oh yeah, it was.
That was a good thing. Yeah.
The best thing about Street Sharks is if you check out the Vin Diesel commercial.
Oh yeah, that's gold right there. Yeah, chat. If you've never seen the Vin Diesel Street Sharks commercial, look that up after we're done here. You will thank me next week.
Also, look up the Vin Diesel dance song that he put out this past week, and it will make you laugh.
Chauncey's got to run. Chauncey, why don't you just say goodnight? And
sorry, the news, the outside world of politics.
She's like real work calls.
No, I totally enjoy being here, of course. Bye. Do you want me to talk about what I got going?
Toodles.
No, well, I was going to talk about how October 2nd. It's coming out in drive-in theaters, and October 6th. But I have I'm going to do a written article about The Devil to Pay, which is a new Uncorked film, which deals with a woman a single mother. Now she's a single mother who deals with the issue of her in the Appalachian Mountains, and there's this really cool like kind of revenge story going on there. And it's at first I thought it was a horror film, but I feel like it's more of a drama, but it's with guns and shooting, of course, and some cult stuff going on. So The Devil to Pay, and I think people should check that out. But I'll have a more in-depth review sometime this week. So.
Heck yeah!
All right, cool. All right, that's Chauncey.
All right, y'all. Next week, see you.
See you next week. Have a good one.
Later.
Woo.
Okay. So
God, that Chauncey's gotta hate her. No.
So anyway, about having penises, am I right? We might be done anyway. Is there any other news to?
Who wants to see a second Borat movie?
That's coming, isn't it?
It's apparently a thing. It's shot and done. It popped up on IMDb with a title which just killed me. So I don't know if you guys remember the lengthy insanity of the previous one. The post was since deleted, but it's apparently called Borat, Gift of Pornographic Monkey to Vice Premier Mikhail Pence to make benefit recently diminished nation of Kazakhstan.
Which is just so good. Well, what was the first one's name?
The first one was like the
cultural learning of America for make benefit glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I wasn't too crazy about. I think it was The Dictator, the last one in that style that he did, but I did really like. I would watch Borat too.
I also like Dolly G, man. I thought that stuff was funny, both the movie and the series, which originated all of these little characters and stuff, notably Borat too. So,
oh yeah.
So what? That's coming out the day after Election Day.
They still haven't dated it. It's apparently already screened for test audiences though, and they're trying to figure out if they want to go theatrical or if they want to go, premium VOD or whatever. So
comedy.
But yeah, horror. It's in the can.
Comedy and horror, just go. Do not pass go. Go straight to VOD. I don't know why they're fucking around.
What the movie's called again? There, all I heard was it went to something monkey, and then you went price, and then it went price, and then it went back to the techno dance thing, and I'm like, what the frick?
Awesome.
So for one more ridiculous time, Borat gift of pornographic monkey to Vice Premier Mikhail Pence to make benefit recently diminished nation of Kazakhstan.
Nice.
Just so good. It's so good.
It makes me laugh that Kazakhstan was super mad at Borat when it first came out, and then when tourism went massively up, they're just like, "Oh, sorry, we're."
Yeah, they embraced it.
Completely.
I also love that if you look at the credit list for Borat 2, it lists Rudy Giuliani and Mike Pence. I went to see this movie.
Oh no. Funny.
Got an ego. I yelled at the whole chat, Mr. I got reprimanded. I yelled at all of you. So
CP, do we have to put you in timeout for a minute?
I think we're gonna have to put everybody in timeout. No more chatting. Chatting's out. We're done chatting today.
Okay.
Is that it? I'm trying to.
I mean, there's other smaller stuff like casting Tinkerbell for the Peter Pan remake.
Why there's enough of those? Like, why
live action remake? I mean, there was also word about the guy Zachary
Quinto?
The guy who was not Quinto. The dude who was Shazam. He was apparently
Levi.
That's right. Yeah. How he was apparently petitioning at one point to get the live action Disney Hercules, but they're going with an African American actress from Brownish named Yara Shahidi. So she's going to be our Tinkerbell. So that's cool. I haven't watched Brownish, so I'm not sure. But this is all per report of Deadline, the live action Peter and Wendy movie, which is what they're titling it. So more of the Disney live action. Yippee!
I just don't know why you would ever go back to Peter Pan for at least for a decade after Pan. That movie was so bad.
I wasn't a fan. Yeah, the weird prequel one where I'm James Hook and I'm not that bad of a guy yet.
Yeah. Oh, but he's always talking out the side of his mouth like a cowboy, huh?
All the villain redemption. And dude, Wolverine Hugh Jackman was so outrageous as Blackbeard in that movie, and the Nirvana song, and wow. Yeah.
Not just the Nirvana song,
Too much.
Don't you dare. Are you going to bring it up?
Bring up what?
The Puddle of Mud cover?
Oh, I don't know. That was good. What the more classic one, the Blitzkrieg Bop. That was not Blitzkrieg Bop. What was it? Was it Blitzkrieg Bop?
Maybe it was. Yeah, I've put out of sight and out of mind everything except for Rooney Mara and how beautiful it was in that movie. Other than that, I mean,
fair.
Love
Scott says the live action Disney remakes are so soulless and eerie to me, which is quite fair, especially.
I actually liked Aladdin. I thought Aladdin was pretty good.
Yeah, Aladdin was okay.
I thought Aladdin was surprisingly all right.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a dumpster fire, and when it was far more tolerable than I anticipated, I mean, I was like, all right. I like Cinderella too because I like Lily James a lot. I thought that was one of the only ones. I hate
Cinderella. I saw it in theaters when my daughters were a bit younger.
I was surprised how much I liked it too.
I bought it for them.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh directed that one.
Again, and I don't think we'll watch it again at this point.
Oh, really?
They are relatively forgettable. They are kind of like a one and done if you've already seen the animated ones. And
that's something like Jungle Book. I went and saw, and people were like, "It's so great," and I'm like,
it's all right.
I'm like, if I'm ever gonna watch Jungle Book again, I'm gonna watch the animated one. I'm not gonna watch the live action one.
Maybe we need to start screaming at each other because the viewer count kicked up 10 people. I start screaming at the chat, we get 10 viewers.
Hey, it's that angry review culture like I was talking about.
I don't know. Let's start disagreeing on shit, I guess. What the
motherfucker?
Yeah, no, you're full of shit, motherfucker.
I think you guys are all class gentlemen.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Canadian.
You always have to have someone who balances out the panel, though, when the other couple people are raging. You know,
I'm Canadian.
We can live together happily. Yeah.
That's all. They're up in Tim Hortons. It's fine.
Free healthcare.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little airborne. It's still good. It's still good.
Yes.
A little soggy. It's still good. It's still good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about that shit in what is it, Michigan, where it's eating people's brains or some shit?
I heard in Texas there was the amoeba or whatever, that was in the drinking water. Yeah.
Boil your water or some shit.
Eating people's brains, man.
Fucking.
I like my brain.
Yo, 2020 is no joke.
I eat your brains and gain your knowledge.
It's so adorably. I almost want to let you do it.
When is the Craft remake coming out? You said
27th, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually got to see that in the theater in October. My local theater every once in a while put out older movies for like $10 in the VIP thing. So it's like my wife loves The Craft. Like it's like came out when we were younger, and so like we went and saw it, and it's still a fun time, man. I don't think they need to remake that. I don't know, but
no, it is coming out. What? November 6th? Why?
What?
So they must have just changed that, because I know there was the bloody, disgusting report that was floating that said allegedly coming October, whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Why release The Craft? Mm-hmm.
You're like, nope, breathe. Nope, I'm good.
Having a bad day. Where's those meds?
This is where what gets the views is if you started screaming, "What the fuck are they thinking?" And just
another fucking women movie. Craft, of course, it's going to be women. Yeah, it was women the first time. Yeah, but
maybe they should do it men this time. Make them.
Yeah, but there's a black one this time. There was a black one last time.
Yeah.
What?
Oh boy.
The Mandela effect about their fucking past. So coming up this week is Tar.
Yeah.
It's a horror.
I haven't even heard of that. What is that? Weird.
Timothy Bottoms, Graham Greene, Aaron Wolf, Emily Peachy.
Okay.
Sounds like a winner.
You know what? Let me go by distributor. The only one I recognize is IFC Films. That's how strong of a week it is.
Wow.
A Call to Spy, starring Sarah Megan Thomas, Stana Katic, and a bunch of names that I will annihilate with my mouth. There's
Stanya, what was it? Stanya Katic?
Stanya Katic.
I think that's the girl from Castle.
Okay.
Yeah, with Fillion, right?
Yeah, with Nathan Fillion, like that used to be on. I'm pretty sure that's her.
Radhika Abti. I can't. Please stop. No more.
I don't even know what you're looking at, so I can't help you. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, this week, nothing. Oh my God! Did fucking De Niro do another goddamn grandpa movie?
No,
yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It's Me versus Grandpa or something versus Grandpa.
War with Grandpa, which already had been released internationally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Something?
It's what's his name in it again?
De Niro.
Yeah, does he need money or something?
I don't. I hope so. Somebody get him Trump's tax money, because
did he make some bad investments and stuff? And now he's like, great, now I got to make crappy films, because it's like, you're De Niro. Like,
I mean, he has Efron.
I don't know, man. Unless you're gonna make something awesome, like there are certain people who will keep making stuff no matter what. But like he's
Julie Dench. Anyway.
Who?
Yeah, I was saying
Uma Thurman. What?
Judi Dench, Dame Judi Dench.
Yeah, she's making stuff now for her grandkids though. Like Artemis Fowl for her grandkids. Like, what my favorite fact about Judi Dench was during Chronicles of Riddick, Vin Diesel taught her how to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, what? That's amazing.
To the point where he got her up enough that she was able to go to be the dungeon master for her grandkids. So she was the dungeon master for her grandkids. He played it. He got her playing it enough because he plays it on all his sets because he's like a big geek for Dungeons and Dragons. So he literally got her schooled up enough that she could do it with her grandkids as the dungeon master. It's my favorite Judi Dench.
That's great. Well, I would love to play D&D with Judi Dench. That'd be fun.
There's a movie coming out. There's a movie coming out on the 16th titled Shithouse about a homesick college freshman who goes to party at a shithouse and ends up spending the night with his sophomore RA who's had a shitty day and wants someone to hang out with. I can't believe the title of the film is Shithouse, and Shithouse, the word shit is a couple times in the synopsis.
Wow.
Sounds like a shitty movie.
What's a shithouse? I don't know college fratty shit.
Then you check the directed by Christopher Nolan. What the fuck?
You know, I did just look. There is one that I remembered the other day was coming out this Friday. It's going very, very limited. It's actually the new Brandon Cronenberg. They're showing the uncut version of his film Possessor. He's the son of David, obviously, David Cronenberg. And his movie Antiviral was seriously messed up. And so that he definitely has a lot of his dad's body horror DNA in his system. I'm very curious about Possessor. That one might actually get me out to a theater. I think it just might. So that's really the only thing that I'm seeing in the next couple weeks. So might twist my arm.
It's not a strong month.
I was interested in Kajillionaire. That came out this past weekend. That was one of the few that I was kind of curious about that didn't go out for. Yeah, it was with Evan Rachel Wood, Richard Jenkins, Deborah Winger, if I'm not mistaken. They play a bunch of con artists. Trailer looked really great. I saw it a few months ago, and they maintained their in-theater release. It's at the AMC that I typically go to. So I don't know if it's worth it, though. I don't know. Red team go. Red team go.
Didn't crack the top 5, man.
Yeah, it made like less than 500K, if I remember.
How is it? Fuego, where are you again? You're in Arizona?
I'm in Arizona, yeah.
How is it there? Like, so movies are open and stuff. Like, how is the COVID stuff there?
The protocol has been good. You know, they're only filling most theaters, depending on which one you go to. Like, AMC is doing 40%. Harkins is a local Arizona chain. They're only doing 25%. And yet the thing is that people are masking up, and they're like, you need to have your mask on unless you're actively eating or drinking food. Yeah. And, of course, I look, and people are just going at it the whole time and not really giving a shit. I don't know. I purposefully choose seats as far back from everybody as possible, typically, second or last row. And I felt pretty comfortable when I went to see Tenet. I also saw Peninsula, which was the Train to Busan sequel, and the New Mutants. I saw all 3 of those in theaters. So,
yeah, here it's like we're in our second wave.
We are too.
I saw that. Yeah.
Started the second wave. Like my province had 700 confirmed cases today, which is more than they've had ever. Yeah. Since COVID started.
Good regular news. Oh shit! I'll get that stat.
So, but like so far, movie theater, like everyone, like you have to wear a mask if you go anywhere in public. Like, so if you're outside by yourself, it's fine. But if you're anywhere 6 feet within each other, especially indoors, you're basically like everyone wears masks. It's mandatory.
Is there any live concerts or anything like that, or if they still? Yeah, same here. They're not even allowing those.
Churches aren't open yet. Like my church isn't open yet. They're doing everything live streamed. They're like
no gatherings of 50 or more is what they're doing in Arizona still, at least in the Phoenix metro area. So
right now, I think it's 30% of what your populate. Like, so if you can hold 600 people, you can have 30% of that. But most places are, and you're still not supposed to sing. So if you go to church, that's just another one of the things you do. So
you're not allowed to sing. Oh, it makes sense, but it's so kooky.
Yeah. So it's a lot of them aren't open yet and stuff. So it's like there's not much playing that I want to see, but I went and saw Akira. I went and saw Tenet twice and saw Akira. I saw New Mutants once too. So.
Yeah, there's just not just. I mean, the Tenet plan failed, and the
whole thought is like I guess they're supposed to wait for it. Like if everything opens up, then it will be better. But like still, half the LA doesn't really open up yet.
We're swinging back around. Tenet better be in theaters for years because Apparently, by October 17th, we'll have 7,400 new deaths by October 17th.
Jeez.
And honestly, like Tenet opening up has been really bad for some theaters because they're operating at a loss because they're just not enough money to keep the lights on. But then there's also the fact that when you're closed, you have a certain amount of negotiating power with your landlord. But when you reopen again, you lose that. And
now you got to pay staff again. You got to do all
and people aren't buying food. And if the theater is going to make money, it's got to be food. And these theaters can't do their like AMC. They've pimped out their theaters to like sell hot food and shit.
Yeah,
they can't do that because of COVID. So they're just eating shit. Just all of this is bad. It's just bad.
Like I love going to the movies, but I just think like a lot of places are going to end up closing down. It's gonna make releases even harder. Like as we've seen, man, it's like you were saying you don't get a month. Like you get 10 days if you're lucky.
Yeah.
To stay in number one spot if you're a really good movie, because the week you opened, 1 to 2 other movies opened, and then the next week 2 to 3 other movies opened, and then the week after that 2 or 3 other movies opened, and it's just like, and there's going to be a backlog, and it's
The question I've been asking myself lately is, are we still going to see movies, or at least at the theatrical sense? Like, who knows? You can always just release VOD. That doesn't matter. But are we going to see as many theatrical releases per year after this going forward? Or will it come down to every other week as opposed to every week?
we might regress to some sort of like 1980s, 1990s thing.
Yeah, where it's like you get a month.
I mean, I wish it's been a while since I've had the OBS open, but the stats of the films that were released per year, like what was it, 77? There was 9 wide releases in 1977. That's insane. That's less than 1 a month.
Yeah.
Wow, that does kind of hurt the brain to think about. Wow.
Yeah, it hurts my heart too, man, because I've had so many wonderful experiences in the cinema. So
most of everything that a lot of what I do has a lot to do with me spending time going to or working at a movie theater. It's what got me into the show, because I used to run numbers for my house. So my theater house, excuse me. I was using terminology, not my house.
It's that and live concerts for me, where I mean, since I even started before being somebody who would go and interview bands at shows, and I'm still in a band. That's some of the few people besides Cecil and the couple horror show game people that I see on a consistent basis, and all of us are pretty much stay at home, sort of people. Our significant others work from home, so we are as cautious as possible. But I have a very small circle of people that I come in any close proximity of contact with. But I miss playing shows. I miss going to shows. And that and the theater experience are the two that I'm not as big about live sports and things like that. But man, live concerts and being in a theater, it just makes me sad the way our world has changed so drastically.
Yeah. I don't go to a lot of live music and stuff. I just don't. I love it. It's expensive. And it's a big thing. So like we took my daughters 2 years ago to see Foo Fighters for the first time. That was their big Christmas gift. Nice. And then we went and saw a guy named Passenger, which was a much smaller, like Foo Fighters, 53,000 people. Passenger was 1,400. But right before COVID hit, we went and saw a band called the Lumineers.
I know the Lumineers, man. I like the Lumineers.
And they were actually really great live. We saw them where the Raptors and Maple Leafs play, so it was like really full. And then the week after that, they announced that all their dates were being pushed back to September.
Oh no!
And so if we would have gone a week later, we wouldn't have seen them. And they still aren't doing anything, obviously, because no one's really performing.
Drum Dums, Blue Tubers. Sorry, we went up to 36 for a second, and then it dropped back down.
You're trying to
try to maintain the number.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Grace Randolph sucks. Controversial.
YouTube Bevan. Oh, sorry.
Well, back up one. I have a secret to tell everybody.
Oh boy.
Ruh-roh.
Until we get to 50.
Put it on top. Very good marketing. I like it.
Yeah, no, I think we've drilled this.
We have.
Yeah. No, I was just curious.
What, Peter? What do you got? What do you say?
I got nothing.
Okay.
I don't know. I won't be back anytime soon with you guys because you guys will do your regular things once. I appreciate coming back and.
You're not. No. You'll be back. You'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I don't like this isn't going to be a weekly thing because, like, you guys do your thing, and I'm definitely not that because I ramble too much, and I'm fine with that.
Not true at all, man.
It is. But no, I'm doing work and I'm doing school. I do 2 courses, one of which isn't started yet. So, in November I'm screwed because I got like I'm going to be doing like a month worth of work or 4 months worth of work in 1 month.
Gangster.
Yeah. Well, it's a modified course. So it's like you do like 4 hours of the schooling and then you're expected to do 18 hours outside of school work for those 5 weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna have some fun times. But right now I'm just doing school, like doing 1 class before that starts and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm not really making any content, so I got nothing to plug other than my old channel. If you want to go look at Pretty Movie Guy and see old videos of me with long hair,
Big guy and the daily beard.
Yeah, there's the daily beard. If you want to see a bunch of vlogs from last year, when the world wasn't quite as crazy.
Yeah,
Interesting deep dive, just like for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
Fucking name, Jesus.
It is funny. So, like I'll occasionally watch one of my vlogs from last year, and I'll go, "Wow, that problem I had last year, man. I wish I had that one back."
Tell me about it. Fucking tell me about it.
It's like that seemed like a big deal last year. Doesn't seem like a big deal right now.
Yeah, puts things in perspective, right?
Yeah, it totally does. So yeah,
Linzo.
Same thing as always. I've got a couple things in the works. We'll see what scripts I end up hammering out. But if you want to check out my backlog or the video that got the director of Krampus to get reached twice, check out my channel. Yeah, I got my 2 cents of nonsense.
And not Lindsay Lohan.
no,
But I am working to legally change my name to Lindsay Lohan and to change her name to Lohane.
That's a good French movie, Lohan.
What is it? I didn't even know that.
I've seen
Lohan.
Low-hanging fruits. Yes. All right.
Before we go.
So that film that's on Amazon Prime that I mentioned, Get Duped, earlier today, I filmed a review of that. I'm also about to do one for the Enola Holmes, which is the Netflix movie with the girl who plays 11, whose name is eluding me, Henry Cavill's in it.
Millie
Bobby Brown. That's right. Yeah. So yes, exactly. Yes, Get Duped. It should be up either tonight or tomorrow. And if you guys get the chance, that movie is utterly hilarious, and it just put me in a good mood. So yeah, check it out if you need some good vibes. If you soiled your taste buds with Antebellum. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't like Babysitter 2, but I needed it.
I had fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly my point. It's not something that I'll go back to, but just the silliness. It was like, yeah, okay, all right, we could do this for a bit. Let's be silly.
Palate cleanse, man.
Holy shit. And October 1st for the channel here is the official release date. Who would like that? Requiem for a Dream. Patrons. Yeah, that's
like, nope.
That's the proper response. Patrons have a couple of things to look at. They might have an early taste because this is a joint collaboration between me and the missus. Like full on. This is a full on collaboration between Emily and I. Writing and shooting all of the whole bunch.
Awesome.
It's gonna be pretty good. is what I'm saying. It's coming together nicely. She just takes weight. She's a Kubrick of takes, and it's a lot of editing. So it's on me now. So it'll be up. Definitely the first. Patrons are getting little pieces until then. So later this week, new content, new produced content on the channel.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
So other than that, we'll see you next week with more fun news about another movie making $2 million and winning the weekend.
I mean, we should try to treasure these days because we're never going to see box office numbers these low again.
Dude,
I
want to ride out whatever. Who's in first?
It's been Tenet. I mean, when's the last time we saw domination at the number one position like Tenet, guys? I mean, my God.
A month straight. Remember those days? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
go.
Let's go, guys. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Peace
Thanks
out.
for fighting in the chat.